This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
A possible late shower today and 15 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
Home quarantine for vaccinated Australians returning from overseas will be on the agenda when National Cabinet meets today. Vaccines for fly-in, fly-out and aviation workers will also be discussed. It'll be the first Cabinet meeting between state and territory leaders and the Prime Minister since the 4-phase roadmap out of the pandemic was unveiled last week. Australia's COVID vaccine supply will receive a boost under a new deal struck with Pfizer. The agreement will see about 1 million doses a week arriving in August. Well, New South Wales health officials are hoping COVID infection numbers fall today, a week out from the scheduled end to Sydney's lockdown. Nine's Clinton Maynard reports.
Stay-at-home orders were meant to be lifted tonight, but they've been extended by a week. But even by next Friday, there's a strong chance the lockdown will be extended once again. That's because new infections hit a high of 38 yesterday, and unless there's a dramatic change, the Premier's unlikely to ease the rules. Gladys Berejiklian says we can't live with Delta before the community is vaccinated. The southwestern suburbs are of greatest concern. A police blitz is now getting underway, with 100 extra officers on the ground enforcing stay-at-home orders.
The Reserve Bank Governor says Australia's borders being closed for longer could lead to a rise in wages. Philip Lowe has given a speech saying the hundreds of thousands of migrants that enter the country every year boost the economy, but can also dilute wage pressure. There'll be no fans at the Tokyo Olympic Games as Japan places its capital under a new COVID state of emergency. The spread of coronavirus is being fuelled by the highly infectious Delta variant, which now accounts for almost a third of infections. IOC President Thomas Bach believes the event can be run safely.
That all these strict measures have proven to be successful.
The state road toll is in the spotlight today with 53 lives lost. The first 6 months of 2021 has been our deadliest start to a year since 2013. And more older drivers are getting killed behind the wheel. Almost half of the fatalities so far this year have been people aged 50 to 69, compared to 9 during the same period in 2020. The RAA is pleading with motorists to take extra care. Most British troops have been pulled out of Afghanistan, signalling the end of a 20-year military mission. Forces were deployed to the South Asian country in 2001 following the 9/11 attacks in the United States. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the move doesn't signify the end of British support for Afghanistan.
We are not about to turn away, nor are we under any illusions about the perils of today's situation and what may lie ahead.
And the Queen has visited the set of British soapy Coronation Street. Her Majesty enjoyed a 40-minute tour of the set and studios to mark the show's 60th anniversary. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
Happy Friday, Tom Wren.
And a very happy Friday to you as well, Mel. It's certainly a happy Friday if you're an Australian tennis fan, and that's because Ash Barty has stormed into the Wimbledon final after a straight sets victory. Nine's Curry-Ann Greenbank reports from London.
Ash Barty has just become the first Australian woman to make it through to a Wimbledon singles final in 41 years after defeating German player and former Wimbledon champion Angelique Kerber in what was a nail-biting match. Ash Barty, the world number 1, will now take on Czech player Karolina Pliskova in the finals. Neither player has made it past the 4th round before here at Wimbledon. They're now set for a centre court showdown on Saturday.
Yeah, cannot wait for that. Well, Melbourne has overcome an average patch of form to beat Port Adelaide by 31 points at Adelaide Oval last night. Christian Petrarca was the star with 33 touches and 3 goals. And although Ben Brown didn't boot any goals himself, coach Simon Goodwin was pleased with his output.
I was really happy with all our tools. I thought Tom McDonald was really dominant. I thought Brownie's ability to impact in the air and just get the ball to ground gave our smaller forwards some great opportunities and great looks inside 50. So I thought he helped us, our structure, certainly ahead of the footy. And on the night where it was a bit of a contest game and a lot of quick kicks coming forward, I thought he competed really strongly.
The Crows take on Essendon tonight, but will be without injured duo Taylor Walker and Luke Brown, rather. There was one game in the NRL last night with Canberra upsetting Manly 30-16, and the NBA Finals continue this morning with Phoenix taking on Milwaukee. The Suns currently lead the best-of-7 series 1-0. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs.
With Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
A possible late shower today, 15. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 16. Sunday, much the same, 17. Right now, it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley. It's Friday, don't we look forward to that? Big weekend coming up. And, of course, 6 minutes past 6. Amelia, good morning.
Oh, good morning. I'm feeling a bit down, though, about Port Adelaide's result last night. I was really hoping, full capacity crowd and all that sort of stuff. So we'll be talking to Hamish Hartlett a little later on the show, just to get his take on that as well.
It was a bit disappointing for Port because they have done lots of things right, particularly when they play the teams sort of below them on the ladder. But when they've been challenged and they've had to play some of the really sharp teams, and Melbourne's one and the Bulldogs is another and Brisbane's another, they just haven't been able to go to that next level. They've competed really strongly, but just haven't been able to find another gear. So just wonder when we talk to Hamish Hartlett whether their confidence has been dented a little bit by that, not being able to get a win against those upper echelon teams. Anyway, we'll get to that later in the show. But I did notice you last night in the Botanic Gardens doing some great work weather-wise, but what about the setting? Tell me about
it's incredible. So if you've been to the Botanic Garden in the past week or so, you might have noticed these sort of random structures popping up about the place. That's because the Botanic Garden's going to host the Illuminate Adelaide Festival's centrepiece, if you could say, the highlight of the festival's program. It's called Light Cycles, and basically there are several sort of huge lighting displays throughout the garden, areas of the garden that you would know really well, like, say, the bamboo forest or, the economic garden. I love saying economic garden. It's such a beautiful place.
Which bit's that?
It's like they're all in, it's sort of closer, I guess, west, you'd say, and they're all in sort of neatly manicured, garden. Oh, I love that part. Anyway, all huge key parts of the garden are all sort of taken over by these lighting, projection, soundtrack displays. We're going to actually speak a little later in the show too to Mathieu Granger, if I'm saying that correct. He's Canadian.
I left that for you. I wasn't even attempting that.
He's Canadian, and he is part of the company Moment Factory that produced what we're going to see at the Botanic Garden over coming weeks. But interestingly, he did it all remotely. So because of COVID, of course, it's not easy to just go back and forth. So him and his team have created this huge concept just by video call and high-res photos. And they really only got to see the Botanic Garden 2 days ago when they got out of quarantine. So it's quite interesting to hear the comparisons there.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a really quick question for you, though, because pulling the radio curtain back, working with Bix, you're such a positive, up-and-about guy, and every day gives us his motto or his mantra of the day. Have you got one for us today? I think the listeners should be on board with this.
Well, I was doing some stuff yesterday and we were talking about optimism. This is away from work where I do some workshops and stuff. And one of the things which is interesting, a lot of people don't realise optimism is a learned skill. So we have... I
didn't know that.
A lot of it is around our characteristics and our personality, but you can learn it. About the character part of it is about 65%. So
right.
If you learn to look for the positive, you'll see it. So find the positives, my motto today. How's that?
That's nice. Friday, go find the positives.
That's it. There's always
Live
one.
longer.
There's one somewhere if you look hard enough. So we'll find one before the end of today, I'm sure. What I am finding out with you working is that you've got the greatest job in the world. You get the sneak preview. Everything that's happening in Adelaide, you are doing the weather the night before it's launched. So you get the sneak preview of everything that's going on. You're at the zoo, you're at the Botanic Gardens, you're down at Glenelg. God, that's not a bad gig.
It's not a bad gig, although to tell you the truth, that's how I preview things, and then I don't always go back.
Don't go. You just get the
tick. I've done that.
You get the 90-second version.
Yeah, I would. It's funny. I've got a week's holiday next week, and I'm really looking forward to
doing nothing.
Yeah, well, no, I've got a child. I definitely don't do nothing. But I'm looking forward to just going to see Light Cycles as a visitor, as opposed to someone who's sort of working and covering it. So that'll be exciting. It kicks off next Friday, but of course we'll talk about that more later on in the show. Just quickly, we always want to hear from our listeners, join in on the conversation. Do you have a motto? That's our question for our listeners today, 8223 0000, or send us a text on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line, of course. Do you have a motto? Otherwise, what's yours again, Bix?
Find the positive.
Find the positive on a Friday.
Yeah, I got this. There's lots of mantras that I just always sort of say in my head. This is the other thing that's interesting. Once again, someone might disprove this, but I'm pretty sure this is right. We average around 10,000 words a day when we converse with people. Now, probably I'm a few more because and you the same. We do this on the breakfast show and we're talking a lot. But in our head, that little voice in our head that speaks to us. And
Not everyone has that.
Really?
No.
Well, I do, and lots of people do. They say that you speak 30,000 words
really
to yourself. And so if you speak more to yourself, and a lot of people, if it's in a negative way, all you're doing is you keep reinforcing that in your head. So you get down on yourself and you keep talking negatively to yourself. So you'll talk positively to yourself.
Find the positive. This is a whole other radio show. For this.
Anyway, well, that's as deep as it gets for the rest of Friday. So if you got up at 6 o'clock and you tune in the radio, this isn't a self-help show. This is just us doing breakfast. It's 11 minutes past 6. As you said, Amelia, we've got a huge show. We're going to go to London very shortly. Lots of stuff going on over there, including some great news for Aussie tennis superstar Ash Barty. She's through to the Wimbledon final, which is great. We'll hear from Tom Wren later on. Dr. Sam Shaheen, he's talking about the F1, the Grand Prix going to the Bend. If anyone can do it, Dr. Sam can do it. That'd be awesome for our state. And of course, Hamish Hartlett is going to also join us talking footy. Crows have made a few selection changes, which we'll unpack as well. This is the FIVEaa Breakfast Show with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley. Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive, hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. The buzz around the new Kluger is huge, and you can experience it for yourself with a test drive at Jarvis Toyota Clovelly Park today. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota South Road, Clovelly Park. Proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency. So if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
Sportsmed.com.au.
Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. That's right. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Up to 30% off double, up to 40% off queen, and up to 50% off king mattresses and ensembles. Our range includes the best names in Australian-made mattresses from Sealy Posturepedic, King Coil by AH Beard, Sleepmaker, and Beauty Rest. Up to 50% off king mattresses and ensembles. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles in-store only. Now at Harvey Norman.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our winter stock take sale is on now, and you'll save up to 40%. Save on our comfortable leather and fabric sofas, sofa beds, recliners, dining tables, dining chairs, including our Australian-made collection. And you can customise to your heart's content. Be part of our massive winter stock take sale and save up to 40%. Hurry, sale ends soon. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. In-store at Mile End Homemaker Centre and online.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
6:15, Mark Bickley and Amelia Mulcahy doing breakfast. Last day for us today. Then, of course, David and Will be back on Monday. I'm sure you'll rejoice with that. They'll have plenty to talk about, no doubt. Amelia put it out there. You talked about mottos. Amelia, do you have one? Send us through on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line, 0448 08 1395. I've got a couple here, which is great. Joe from Camden Park said his dad's advice was always tell the truth and you'll never have to remember what you said. Great.
I like that. Although you do still have to remember for me. I still have to try and remember what I said. And then I love this one from Rob on something else entirely, but he goes, I heard that we say 10,000 words a day, but I think I lend about 5,000 of these to the wife.
Very generous,
Can you
Rob.
put them on loan? I don't know.
I don't think so. Anyway, some people, like I said, I talk a lot, so I'd probably talk more. Tell us about the news headlines. You can use some of your 10,000 words,
Thank
Amelia.
you. I'm going to have to borrow some after these. Big story of the day, of course, is Ash Barty's reached her first Wimbledon final after defeating Angelique Kerber in straight sets overnight. The Australian world number one will take on Karolina Pliskova for the title tomorrow. Here is Barty talking after the game.
It would be a dream come true. It took me a long time to verbalise that winning Wimbledon was my biggest dream, and I think now that I've got an opportunity, it's incredibly exciting, and it's just going to be a moment on Saturday of, regardless of what happens, I promise myself that I'll enjoy it.
How special is that?
She's great. I love Ash Barty.
Name me a person that doesn't.
Exactly. And it's all about her outlook. You listen to, she's so gracious when she wins. She's gracious when she loses. She always pays compliments to her opponents. She, even when she got knocked out of the Australian Open, she said, you know what, I've still got a pretty good life. I'll still work hard at getting a Grand Slam. That's what I want to do, but this isn't the end of the world. And I know she's done a lot of work with a guy called Ben Crow. Ben Crow is a sort of a motivator type person, and he's worked a lot with Trent.
So like a life coach? Or
Yeah, a bit of that, and talks about purpose, and worked a lot with Trent Cotchin and the Richmond Footy Club as well, so no surprise they're doing some really good things. He started working with them around the same time he started working with Ash, probably 2016, 2017. So interesting, and he's a really interesting guy, Ben Crow. He does a lot of podcasts and stuff, if anyone's interested in listening to him. So
she's just the quiet achiever, though, Ash Barty. There's no frills about it. It's, you just love hearing her talk after things because it's very matter of fact, and there's no.
And what an ambassador for Australia. Like, if everyone looks at her and says, oh, geez, Australians are laid back, or if she's representing us, which she does, because the Aussie flag is under her name every time she plays, I think we should be so proud.
Staying in sport, now the big event coming up, of course, is the Olympics, but there'll be no spectators. Japan is placing its capital under a state of emergency that'll last throughout the Olympics. The highly infectious Delta variant now accounts for almost a third of cases over there. Japanese Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide announced the state of emergency at a coronavirus task force meeting.
Although the number of severely ill patients and the occupancy rates of hospital beds have remained at a low level, the impact of the COVID-19 mutated strains must be taken into account.
I look forward to, 20 years from now when we look back on this, and it's just sort of a blip in the radar, but it's just amazing that this is just, you look back at the Olympics and it's such a marker for world history. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was the war, or there was this,
and Black Lives Matter. The Panther salute in the
exactly.
It
symbolises a point in time as well. And for Tokyo, I mean, going ahead, but no spectators. You
just wonder what it looks like, and for the athletes, what it means. I instantly, when I think of the Olympics, I think of the pool deck and just the screaming masses. When they dive in, and just for that couple of minutes where they're swimming, and I don't know whether it's ever going to be the same, and I'm not sure it's going to be the same for the athletes. I know we'll appreciate it watching it on television because that's what we do, but I just wonder how they, if it'll be exactly the same. I've witnessed it with the footy, and we were lucky a couple of times last year. We got to go to games where there was no spectators, and it is really, really different. And what you do realise is that the atmosphere is so important, and the players feed off the energy that the crowd give them.
It would be, yeah.
So you take away that energy, and you take away something from the athlete's performance. So it's going to be, I think it'll be a real test for the mental strength of the athlete and how focused they can be, and how they prepare. So that's going to be really interesting.
Closer to home when it comes to the road toll, SA's recorded its second worst start to the year in the past decade. 53 lives have been lost on our roads, 7 more than at the same time last year. Now, there are also more road deaths being recorded in the metro area by comparison to previous years. The RAA is urging motorists to make safety their priority behind the wheel.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. It's just such a waste, isn't it? road fatalities, and from what you hear, so many of them can be preserved, but it's inattention, or it's alcohol, or it's
fatigue a lot of the time.
Yeah, fatigue or speed. There's all those things all contribute to it, and it's just so every time you turn the news on and you see there's a fatality, particularly a young person, and you just think the ripple effect that does, the impact that has on the parents, the friends, all those things. It's just and then that's the fatality. Then there's probably double the amount of people that get really serious injuries, that lifelong injuries that are impacted by it as well. So it's just one of those things that we just really, I know we've improved, but we've never really nailed it, have we? In terms of...
That's because it's people. You can't control what people do. You can put all these measures in place, but you can't control...
stupidity.
Well,
or inattention.
Inattention. It's not realising the consequences of inattention. I'll never forget, back when I was a general reporter for... for 7 News, and I was going to a police press conference, and one of the police officers we were interviewing said, when you look down at your mobile phone, that's hundreds of metres that you've travelled on the road, and you have not been looking, and that really, that will stay with me forever, because that's the truth. You think you're just looking down to, I'm just going to quickly see, I've got a text or whatever. People, you shouldn't do it. People still do, and... that's, you have not looked at for hundreds of metres being travelled.
But then we hear the other morning, I think we had one of our police media people on, and they were talking about a young lady who was in early 20s doing 170.
I think that's a small portion of the population that would actually consider that, though,
but still,
surely.
That's just, it's mind-boggling that you drive at that speed and think that there's things that aren't going to happen. If you make a mistake at that speed, that's it, isn't it? It's lights out. It's bizarre.
Absolutely. There's been a boost for Australia's COVID vaccine supply. New deal's been struck with pharma giant Pfizer. The agreement will reportedly see about 1 million doses a week arriving in August too. Now, the US president speeding up the troop withdrawal from Afghanistan after receiving a briefing from his national security team. The military operation will wrap up on the 31st of August rather than the 11th of September. Taliban forces are making significant gains as Western nations pull out. Joe Biden says staying there, though, won't help.
The current security situation only confirms that just one more year of fighting in Afghanistan is not a solution, but a recipe for being there indefinitely. It's up to the Afghans to make the decision about the future of their country.
Now, here's an interesting one.
I'll be the judge of that.
New research has found Aussies have been buying more dairy products since the pandemic began, with spikes in generic brands of milk, cheese, plain and Greek yogurt. Sales of no-name butter alone has jumped 10% since April last year. United Dairy Farmers of Victoria President Paul Mumford says there are many reasons, including changing attitudes to butter over margarine and greater awareness of different types of fat.
COVID has had a huge impact, particularly on the consumer and how they spend a dollar, and we're no longer able to eat out as often as we can, so we're producing more food at home.
Well, I know from a couple of my mates, good friends, Kim Costa and Tony Modra and Clay Sampson, they all work for the FIVEaa Milk Company,
I
who
know
are
that they're
great supporters of our...
that's all I buy at home.
Yeah, and they are flying, and great local company, so that would support that theory, wouldn't it? Eating more dairy. Weather, have we got much going on today, Amelia?
Yeah, we do. We're going for a more cloud around today, and it's also quite chilly this morning, low of 7 degrees. Bit of cloud around today, so we could maybe see a shower this morning. Fine this morning, but we could maybe see a shower later this afternoon. We're going for a top of 15 degrees, so perhaps pack the brolly for the way home, but, I know you love that. We could see one. I think people should be prepared.
Okay.
Then rule it out definitively.
Okay.
I'll call you when it rains.
The old
Bix.
Boy
How does that
Scout
sound?
motto, be prepared.
Now, speaking of mottos, of course, we've been asking everyone to sort of text in their mottos because, Bix, you have a great one today. It's find the positive. I love this one. Jeanette on the Facebook live stream. My mother-in-law used to always say a big job is just a lot of little jobs. That makes sense. Why have I not thought of it that way? And Jeanette's motto is, even if you feel lousy, Get up, dress up, and show up. That's what I tried to do today, Jeanette, just so you know. And Sue on the Facebook live stream, life is not a dress rehearsal. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, thank you for all those people that are joining in. If you've got a motto, 8223 0000, or jump on the Mount Barker, the Telstra store Mount Barker text line, 0448 08 1395. Tom Wren not far away to update us on sport.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
The globe might be warming, but where I live, I'm getting ready for the next ice age.
So, Bix, when the temperature plummets this winter, make sure you fit yourself out with very cosy and very warm heat holders, socks, beanies, gloves and accessories.
Yeah, great advice there, Amelia. Heat holders are making life warmer for all South Australians and their families who enjoy all things outdoors. So if you're walking the dog or watching the footy or in the park with your kids, you can do this and keep yourself warm.
Yep, heat holders, range of socks, gloves, beanies, blankets and accessories are popular with everyone, young and old, we're finding.
Yes, heat holders making life warmer. Get them at your Drake's supermarkets and selected retailers.
CSIRO is looking for individuals to participate in a study assessing the impact of milk lipids on memory and cognition. If you are between 55 and 75 and have noticed some changes in your memory function, are able to consume milk and rice products, and are free to attend sessions over a 16-week period at the CSIRO clinic located at Samri, please register your interest. Participants will be reimbursed for their contribution to scientific research. Email crstudies@csiro.au or call 8305 0615.
For over 36 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
Imagine being invisible. You could mess with someone's mind, sneak up on them, and they wouldn't know you're there. Even scare them to death. When you speed on our roads, that's what happens, because no one sees you coming. Think road safety. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. Tell you what we are going to do, and that is talk sport, because we love sport. 3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. FIVEaa Milk Company, that's in your supermarket right now. Tom, pretty big night overnight for, let's start with the tennis. Probably the good news for Port fans. Ash Barty, what did she do? She actually got through to the final, which is outstanding.
Unbelievable. We'll start with the positive news. That's a good idea, Bix. She was absolutely wonderful. I was watching that last night after the footy had finished. I was a bit flat for Port Adelaide that they lost, but she was just brilliant, and she took the first set, and then she was 2-5 down in the second, and I thought, oh, this one's going all the way. But she just never gives her opponent an even break. She makes them fight for everything. She forced it to a tie break. She took it out, and now, first Australian woman in 41 years to play in the Wimbledon final, which is sensational.
What was Kerber's form? Was this a big win, a good defeat?
Huge. I mean, Kerber's won Wimbledon before. She's a 3-time champion. She knows how to get it done. So for Barty to beat her, Kerber's just got such a lethal forehand. She's got big ground strokes. A great victory. She now, though, takes on Karolina Pliskova. Now, Pliskova has got huge games. She's been a world number 1 herself back in 2017. But she's never won a final. She's made it to the US Open final before, semi-finals at the Australian Open and French. Her best ever actually is only the 4th round at Wimbledon, as it was for Ash Barty too. But she's got serious game. The big question mark on her, though, is pressure of a final.
The moment.
Can she handle the pressure?
So what are international commentators picking? Because as an Aussie, my heart's with Barty.
I think most would go with Ash as well. I think if Carolina brings her best, she can certainly win. But I think Ash would have to go in as favourite.
And just quickly, before we head to the news headlines, Port Adelaide, you disappointed last night?
Really flat. I guess that question keeps coming now, Bix, doesn't it? They just can't get it done against those top four sides. I mean, Melbourne just dominated aerially in defence.
Yep.
Christian Petrarca was just a giant in the midfield, 33 touches and 3 goals. And Zach Butters, unfortunately, a knee injury. We'll find out today, but it looks like a little medial, so you would think 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, he was quite dejected, wasn't he? He knew he'd done something good there. He was subbed out early in the third quarter, I think it might have been. Thank you very much,
Pleasure.
Tom. And time now.
And great job, guys. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
That means a
Great
lot,
week.
Tom. You're a radio star. We're going to go to the news on the other side. We've got still plenty to come, including having a chat with Hamish Hartlett later in the show. And we're going to go all the way to London to speak to Hugh Whitfield.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible late shower today in 15 with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A stolen car has been torched at Regency Park. The Holden Captiva was reported on fire in a parking area on Days Road just after 5 this morning. It's been completely destroyed. The SUV was taken from a Broadview driveway on Wednesday. The Formula Ones could be heading back across the border. The Shaheens have offered the Bend Motorsport Park as a venue for the race in November after Melbourne pulled the pin due to COVID. Tailem Bend could be run as a quarantined bubble facility but would need to be upgraded to meet F1 specifications. National Cabinet will meet again today. Home quarantine for vaccinated Australians returning from overseas will be on the agenda, along with vaccines for fly-in, fly-out workers. Fully vaccinated UK travellers returning home from medium-risk countries will no longer have to quarantine. The change comes into effect from July 19. 65% of Britons have received both their doses. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps says some measures will remain in place.
They'll still be required to take a test 3 days before returning, the pre-departure test, demonstrating they're negative before they travel, and a PCR test on or before day 2.
Japan is taking a tougher approach to help curb the spread of COVID just 2 weeks before the Olympics are set to start. The Prime Minister has placed Tokyo under a 4th state of emergency. That will last throughout the Games. That means no crowds. The US President is speeding up the troop withdrawal from Afghanistan after receiving a briefing from his national security team. The military operation will wrap up on the 31st of August rather than the 11th of September. Taliban forces are making significant gains as Western nations pull out their troops. Joe Biden says staying there won't help.
The current security situation only confirms that just one more year of fighting in Afghanistan is not a solution, but a recipe for being there indefinitely. It's up to the Afghans to make the decision about the future of their country.
Boris Johnson has announced that most British troops have been withdrawn from Afghanistan. The Adelaide Guitar Festival gets underway tonight. The event runs over 3 weeks until July 25 and features everything from classical and jazz to rock and flamenco. The event didn't go ahead last year due to COVID. And artistic director Slava Gregorian says it's great to be back.
We're very excited. Lots of stopping and starting, and after missing a festival last year, it's great to be finally up and running. We're all so appreciative of having an audience to play to, and feels like a very exciting time in the world of the arts at the moment. It's great to be coming back.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Not a good night for Port Adelaide, Tom Wren.
Unfortunately not, Mel. They're going to be licking their wounds following last night's 31-point loss to Melbourne. The Power has slipped outside the top 4 and the result has been compounded by a knee injury to returning midfielder Zach Butters. Coach Ken Hinkley confirming the injury, but he says it's not the same knee which has kept him sidelined for most of the season so far.
Yeah, we give his knee a bit of a sprain. It looks like maybe his medial, maybe is a little bit. We'll wait and see, but we won't make any calls on it until we actually get some information back.
Tonight, Adelaide will take on Essendon at Marvel Stadium. Elliot Himmelberg and Lockie Murphy returning to the side, with Luke Brown and Taylor Walker both injured. Australian Ash Barty is just 2 sets away from a maiden Wimbledon title. She's beaten Angelique Kerber to become the first Australian woman in 41 years to reach the final in London. She'll face Karolina Pliskova in the decider. Pliskova says she's looking forward to taking on Barty in the final.
Of course, she makes you feel a bit like ugly with the game which she's playing, but also I had a lot of chances. Last match we played, I think I had a match point that I was serving for a match.
And tonight it's semi-final action on the men's side with Novak Djokovic up against Denis Shapovalov, while Herbert Hurkacz will take on Matteo Berrettini in the other. And in some golf to finish, South Aussie Wade Ormsby's made a strong start at the Scottish Open with an opening round of 4 under, putting him only 3 shots behind leader Jack Senior. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Heading for a top of 15 for your Friday with a possible late shower. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 16, and much the same again on Sunday, 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. 24 minutes to 7. Sun still hasn't come up yet this morning, Amelia. It's still pitch black outside. A little bit of a coolish morning, a bit cooler than yesterday.
Yes, it is correct, and you can say that. And I often make fun of you for talking, you give your commentary on the sunrise. But when I was talking to you before, and this is, I love sharing this with everyone because it's a lot of fun working with Bix, and Bix is a really happy, positive guy. And what was
you get the good version?
Sorry, Tori, the wife at home who doesn't. What was it you were saying? You were saying you like talking about the sunrise because it's something positive to look forward to.
It's finding a positive, and sometimes getting up at 4:30 in the morning isn't very positive and it's cold, particularly in winter. So you need something to look forward to. And if you look hard enough, you'll find the positive. And what's happened this week, out of the 5 days, or 4 so far, and we're still waiting in anticipation this morning, we've had 3 great sunrises, and you never see them unless you're up at Sparrow's Fart,
Yes,
So,
that's us today. And so we've been asking this morning, do you have a motto? Because Bix has a motto, and off air he tells us his motto every day. We've been asking listeners, do you have a motto? We want to hear from you. 8223 0000. We've got a stack of Waller's gift cards to give away too. But on the text line, which is the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line, 0448 08 1395. We've had a flood of texts this morning. This is unreal. We've got Mark from Para Hills who says he loves the song Don't Worry, Be Happy. Simple yet effective. I play my 2-year-old that song all the time. Dave from Greenwith says, construction industry motto, if you haven't heard a rumour by Smoko, start one. We've got another one, every day above ground is a good day. True that. And then Andrew from Rosedale says, when I started my apprenticeship, my dad gave me the advice, a good tradesman can hide his mistakes. Priceless advice that was. Cost effective too, I'm assuming. Fred says, my father used to say, if you're going to hurt yourself or anybody else, I will get involved. If not, you're old enough to make your own decisions. Okay. Good morning from Pastor Bobby. A motto in a world of confusion, make silence your voice in a time not your choosing. Let peace calm your noise. Ooh.
That's deep, that one.
And we've got this one I love from Rosie. When I got married 47 years ago, my mother gave me this advice concerning my mother-in-law. Always listen respectfully to her advice, then you decide what you will do. And she says that's good advice that stops any upsets. And then this one from Tony at Norwood. This I was laughing about as we came back on air. My mother used to say, life is too short to stuff a mushroom. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, I can understand how you would do that. Not stuffing
well,
a mushroom.
It's a lengthy process.
Yeah, Doug joins us from Blakeview. Doug, you got a motto?
Yeah, mine relates to sport. A lot of people say humble in victory, gracious in defeat, but mine's sing when you win and others can see themselves, because losing hurts too much to not enjoy winning.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it is. You work hard to get a win.
Take the small wins.
Celebrate the wins. Julie is at Hyde Park. What's your motto, Julie?
Good morning, guys. My motto is I want to live in the world. I don't need to own it.
Oh, good work. Yep.
Tell me more about that. So you want to be present. Is that what it is?
Well, present, and also people tend to focus so much on possession, money,
that's a good point.
What they don't have. We just need to appreciate the fact that we are living in a a great time, I think.
I'm here for it,
rather
Julie.
than focus on money.
Good stuff,
Thanks,
Julie.
Julie.
John Lennon said that, didn't he? Imagine a world without possessions. Lyrics in his songs.
Of course he did.
Philip at Seacliff Park. Philip, what's your motto?
What about from the Marigold Hotel? Everything will be all right in the end. If it's not yet the end, it's not all right.
That's a good point.
I think I messed that up.
I feel
Philip, I'll give you some homework. Go away, come back, ring us back in 10 minutes and have another go.
Everything will be all right at the end. It's not the end. It's
If it's not all right, it's not the end. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
That's
got there
right.
in the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it
it
wasn't
was
the
all
end
right.
when you first said it.
That's
Philip.
correct.
That's right. And you know what, Philip? You gave me a laugh, so that's great too.
Here's another one from Blackie. He says, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Seriously.
That is very clever. We could read these all morning, Amelia, but we'll get back to them and do that a little bit later. But there's some really interesting news or an interesting story in Europe this week.
Here in Australia, we've long been fascinated by underbelly stories, but in Europe over the past 24 hours or so, one has actually played out. Hugh Whitfield from 7 News, the Europe Bureau Chief, joins us now. Hugh, what can you tell us?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, this is the story of Peter R. de Vries, who is very famous in the Netherlands. He is a national hero. He's a celebrity for years, using his journalism skills to police crack crimes. He's written books that have been turned into movies, including about the abduction of Freddie Heineken, the boss of Heineken decades ago. It ended up being a movie starring Sam Worthington. He was walking down the street after appearing on a breakfast television show in Amsterdam and was shot up to 5 times, the bullets ringing out in a suburban street near some shops. Shot in the head and has somehow survived, but obviously fighting for his life in hospital. The King of the Netherlands said he was shocked and dismayed. The Prime Minister spoke out. It was even raised on the floor of the EU Parliament, concerns about freedom of the press and the way that the press can continue to go about its job in safety. But this is tied back to possibly a number of things. Now, he's been threatened with his life before after we wrote about the Heineken abduction, and an international criminal who was arrested in Dubai 3 years ago, Ridwan Taghi, he in the past, who has now been arrested thanks to de Vries' work, has had to deny that he's put a bounty on de Vries' head. That's one line of inquiry for police. They've got 3 people under arrest, but a fascinating tale of this crime, the criminal underbelly of the Netherlands, being exposed to the world to see.
And I guess, Hugh, it does. It rocks everyone there because when you see people on TV, you identify with them and you you like them. So when something happens to them, you think, well, it rattles everyone's safety, really.
Yeah, and I would never burden anyone in Australia with a comparison to someone who's just been shot. But this is someone very high profile who everyone in the Netherlands knows. And in fact, people on the streets there say, they know him because he's helped people. He's helped families. He's helped victims of crime to find justice, get some answers. And so for many people in the Netherlands, we know it's such a small country, this really strikes us.
Let's move on because there's another big story. Ash Barty, final for the first time since 1980 for an Australian woman.
Yeah, look, just outside Wimbledon at the moment, straight set for Ash Barty, beating Angelique Kerber a couple of hours ago now, setting up a final with Karolina Pliskova this weekend, the 8th seed up against the world number 1. Ash Barty out to make history, to be the first Australian woman to win at Wimbledon since Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley back in 1980, Ash Barty's hero. Look, what a weekend it could be. I really wish that more Australians could be in town for this because it'll be fantastic here if she does win. She'll be just the 3rd Australian woman to win at Wimbledon, which is remarkable in itself.
Well, it sounds like it's electric over there, Hugh. Enjoy it outside Wimbledon today.
Cheers.
There you go. That is Hugh Whitfield from 7 News Europe Bureau Chief. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do the police rounds. Sapol Media will join us. We'll also go to the Bureau of Meteorology and check on all the traffic. Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley. It's 6:45.
The census is coming this August. It's when every stat tells a story. Like population data, which tells mental health services where to support people in need. remember your answers don't just make statistics. They help build a better future for all of us. Look out for instructions on what to do. For more info, visit census.abs.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, Canberra.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made FIVEaa milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with FIVEaa.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our winter stocktake sale is on now and you'll save up to 40%. Save on our comfortable leather and fabric sofas, sofa beds, recliners, dining tables, dining chairs, including our Australian-made collection. And you can customise to your heart's content. Be part of our massive winter stocktake sale and save up to 40%. Hurry, sale ends soon. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. In-store at Mile End Homemaker Centre and online.
If you're looking for a new local, you know, the kind where you can get all your shopping done, where you don't have to spend all your time looking for a park, the kind where you can pick up presents, do the weekly shop, and stock up on seafood and small goods, look to Newton Central. With a newly renovated Drake's, Barossa Fine Foods, Seafood Works, Target, and many more shops, Newton Central is set to become your new local. Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
Hey Barry.
Yes, Bev?
Remember our first Jayco back in the 80s?
Gee, those were the days, Bev.
Yeah, and Walker Crash Repairs have been an RAA approved crash repairer since then.
Wow, that's 35 years.
Yeah, and now they're also an RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
Well, that's because they do such a good job, Bev. You can always relax on the road with Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA approved crash repairer for caravans and cars.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. It's 13 minutes to 7 time now to talk to Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes from Save Pole Media. And Rebecca, let's start with, firstly, do you have a motto? We've been talking about that all morning, Rebecca.
One that I say to myself is don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I'm a Virgo,
great.
so I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So all my colleagues just spat out their coffee right then. So I try and tell myself, you know, it's better to do something now than wait for the perfect opportunity to do it absolutely perfectly right, because that time obviously never comes. And it's also something during coronavirus that I've been saying a lot, is that, well, nothing's perfect. What we're doing is good. It's better than nothing. There's always room for improvement. It's really easy to be critical, but it's better to do something than nothing.
I relate to that so much, Beck. That is,
Are you a Virgo?
I'm not. I'm a Sagittarius, but I'm a perfectionist, and it is just it just forces you into procrastination. I live for
It does,
this
and you just freeze up and don't actually do anything.
All right, well, let's get the perfect cross here this morning, if we can,
Uh-oh,
please.
no pressure.
The stolen
This will
car.
be better than nothing, but maybe just good.
A stolen car was torched at Regency Park. Tell us about that.
Yes, police and fire crews were called to a parking area on Days Road at Regency Park just after 5am this morning, so only a short time ago, by reports of a car on fire. The Holden Captiva SUV was completely destroyed by fire. It had been reported stolen from the driveway of a Broadview home 2 days ago on Wednesday, and we're just asking anyone who saw any suspicious activity at Regency Park, Days Road this morning, as any information at all, they can contact the police assistance line. So Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And a go-kart was stolen from a Paraka business. Tell us about that.
Yes, we've got some CCTV of this break-in. It happened just before 1:30am on Monday. A man driving a grey or silver Mazda broke into a business premises on Maxwell Road at Paraka. Once inside there, he then gained entry to another business and stole a go-kart from a secure container. And then just before 2am, he drove out of the premises with the go-kart actually strapped to the roof of that Mazda, drove west along Maxwell Road towards Main North Road. Perhaps people saw him in that area and thought it was a bit odd. We've got a photo of the go-kart on our website and Facebook page. It's described as one-of-a-kind, purpose-built, with a grey frame, black handlebars and a number 8 on the front. We've also got the photo of the Mazda from the CCTV. So anyone who recognises the car or has any idea of the whereabouts of this stolen go-kart can call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Rebecca, thank you very much. Have a good day.
It was perfect, Rebecca. It was perfect, by the way.
It wasn't.
It was perfect and good.
Thank you.
Very good. Let's check on the latest weather. Vince Rowlands, who is the senior forecaster at the Bureau, joins us. Good morning, Vince.
Morning, Mark. Good morning, Amelia.
Do you have a motto?
Yeah, don't bag the weatherman.
Could almost make a song out of that.
Have we converted you this week
Look,
and
I think
last
you have.
week's?
What I've taken out of this is that people like Vince work very hard to give us the best indication of what's going to happen. Now,
And the tools that Vince has are far better than your rain gauge, just your rain gauge. So keep that in mind.
And like Rebecca said, it isn't always perfect, but it can be good.
But it's great.
Vince, give us your best shot today, mate.
Yeah, looking at, after a pretty cold start to the day, so we've got down to 6.5 here in the city, a bit cooler up in the northern suburbs. We've seen temperatures drop down to about 4 degrees, so yeah, pretty cool start to the day. But we'll hit a maximum around 15 degrees today, and looking at a mostly sunny morning, but we do have a bit of shower activity just moving over parts of Lower Eyre Peninsula at the moment, so there's a bit of a chance that they could make it through to Adelaide in the afternoon and evening. So we do have a chance of a shower on for that period, but not expecting too much out of it. If we do see some showers up to a millimetre is expected. So, yeah, good, pretty nice morning, but possible shower in the afternoon.
Sounds like we've got a better shot at rain next week, Vince.
We certainly have. So we've got several systems moving across from the west during next week. So we'll start out with reasonable conditions over the weekend, maybe a little bit of fog around tomorrow morning about the hills and northern suburbs, but top of 16 and then top of 17 on Sunday with just a slight chance of a shower again as a bit of a weak system moves through. But certainly as we head into the second week of the school holidays, things are looking quite a bit wetter. So Monday we've got a shower or two, top of 15, showers continuing during Tuesday with a top of 16 degrees, and then during Wednesday and Thursday we see an increase in shower activity, top of 18 on Wednesday, 17 on Thursday, and at this stage it looks like we've got another pretty decent system moving through on Friday that could produce quite a bit more shower activity. So yeah, it looks like a bit of a wet week next week.
Love your work, Vince, and a great life motto there too, Bix. I'm sure you'll make that your phone background or something.
Well, if we could just change the words to "Don't pay the ferryman" to "Don't bag the weatherman," we could make a big hit out of that. Thanks very much, Vince.
No worries.
Yeah, great stuff there. Vince Rowlands joining us there. Breakfast traffic, let's check it. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
Good morning. At Northfield this morning, got changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road. That's for the intersection upgrade. Take note of the signage there. Crayfors, speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. Busy this morning at Paraka on Montague Road from Bridge Road to Main North Road. That's due to works. Look out for roadworks at Commercial Road near Gracechurch Street in Port Adelaide. Both directions down to 40 today and 2 lanes are closed. And cameras at Education Road, Happy Valley and Kelly Road at Modbury. The biggest ever King Winter Sale ends soon. Save up to 50% on Australian designed furniture. Visit the King Keswick showroom or shop online, kingliving.com today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Take David and Will on your morning walk. Listen to Pilco and one of his many guests while you tend your garden. Have a laugh at the shops with John Blake. And talk footy with Rowie, Stud and Treaders in your shed. The FIVEaa Player app lets you do all that and more. So download the app and take FIVEaa wherever you go.
The FIVEaa Player.
Sometimes a big deal really does make a big difference. At Weeks Homes, we're as good as our word. And when we say we're committed to showing South Australia what a better building experience looks like, we put our money where our mouth is. Right now, make your dream a reality with a $25,000 cash discount on all Weeks Next Gen homes. Weeks Homes. Discover different. Go to weeks.com.au for terms and conditions.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. It's 5 minutes to 7 and we're now going to sort of change pace a little bit. It's Bastille Day coming up. Is it coming up or is it today?
No, it's actually next
Yeah,
week.
the
It's on the
14th, isn't it?
14th.
That's right.
But the Central Market is celebrating it today and tomorrow. So they've got a whole heap of stuff on, you know, everything from a crate pop-up by the Market Bread Bar. We've got activities for kids. My personal favourite, the Champagne Bar. There's opera singing. There's live music. It's all happening. To tell us a bit more about it, we've got Valerie Hembest, who is from the Smelly Cheese Shop. It's an icon in the Central Market. Valerie, good morning.
Bonjour, Amelia. Bonjour, Mark.
Yes.
Oh, no.
And you might ask my motto. Mine is, if in doubt, eat more cheese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
why
that
not?
makes sense. That's how you probably ended up where you are.
And champagne, by the way.
And
Champagne.
I'm on the right track, Valerie.
And Valerie, I did 3 years of French at school and the best I can give you is la fromage.
Le fromage.
Le
It's a
fromage.
masculine.
Oh, I thought it would
Yes.
be feminine. Anyway, that's money well spent by my parents, I would have thought. Tell us a little bit about some of the activities that are happening, whose idea this was and how you're going to celebrate it.
Look, every year I think Bastille Day is celebrated at the market so beautifully. So they do it well at the Adelaide Central Market. And of course, they have lots of good resources. And since the French Revolution really is tied up heavily with food, as those poor revolutionaries were hungry and were asking for bread, well, it's only natural that we all end up celebrating their success at the Adelaide Central Market. So much happening. We will have lots of food, cheese, and sparkling on display, champagne. We'll have cooking demo. We're going to help you cooking 3 fromage soufflé with Mandy Hall, who is a master chef in 2019. We're going to also have lots of live music. We're going to have a raclette. You know what a raclette is?
Now, that's the big cheese, isn't it? With the melted...
That's the big cheese.
Yeah.
We're going to melt it over some fresh baguette. So please feel free to drop your lunchbox and come for a nice little raclette a little later today. And I'm also there is also going to be some beautiful singing with lots of very, very talented musicians. But as you said, Amelia, Bastille Day is in fact on Wednesday the 14th. Bastille Day is July the 14th. And I'm having a huge event, sold out event, but a long table with 5 cheese, 5 champagnes, and a Zoom across live from France with the cheese producer and the champagne producer, and a lot more, as I've invited some opera singers as well, and a lot more. This weekend, we're going to now send boxes with 5 cheese and a bottle of champagne for anyone who wants to hook up at home and just join live on Wednesday night. So if you've got nothing else to do, I can really drop a box for you, and you can certainly join the fun.
Why Bastille Day, Valerie? Because I know that there are obviously lots of days around, but it just seems like the Central Market. I've been there when you guys have celebrated in previous years. It just seems like the market does it so well.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like lots of people are keen to celebrate this French National Day. We do it a little bit with the American on July the 4th and sometimes with the Italian, but it certainly sounds like Bastille Day resonates a lot with people. I suppose it's a nice way to promote the French culture, and I think there's a lot of Francophile in Adelaide and in Australia in general. That's certainly what I feel anyway, being French here. I feel like there's a lot of people very keen to learn more about all the good things that France managed to produce throughout the last 2,000 years.
Well, Valerie, love chatting to you. I think I could talk to you all day and listen to you talk. Your accent is beautiful. You're in the smelly cheese shop at the Adelaide Central Market. You're celebrating...
Come and get...
Yes.
Sorry.
No, sorry.
Yeah, come and get some nice cheese. We have such a friendly staff. They will certainly tell you more about the cheese we have and the history behind each and every one of the cheese we offer.
Fantastic. Thank you for chatting with us and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have fun too.
We will. So Bastille Day at the Adelaide Central Market kicks off this morning, 9:30 a.m. all the way through the day, and then again tomorrow morning starting at 9 a.m. again, and activities throughout the day for everyone.
The champagne bar's at 5:30, so I've got
champagne bar, but there's activities for the kids. There is everything there, so absolutely fantastic there. Valerie Henbest from the Smelly Cheese Shop. We're going to take a break for the 7 o'clock news, and thank you to everyone. There's still lots of mottos coming through, so we'll try and get through a few more of them, and plenty to come on the other side.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible late shower and 15 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
An SUV has been completely destroyed in an early morning fire. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says it's being treated as arson.
Police and fire crews were called to a parking area on Days Road at Regency Park just after 5 a.m. this morning by reports of a car on fire. The Holden Captiva SUV was completely destroyed by fire.
The vehicle was taken from a Broadview driveway 2 days ago. There are concerns about the road toll at the halfway point of 2021. SA has recorded its second worst start to a year in the past decade. 53 lives have been lost, 7 more than at this time last year. And there are more road deaths being recorded in the metro area. The RAA is urging motorists to make safety their priority behind the wheel. Australia has secured a deal to triple its access to the Pfizer COVID vaccine, with the company to deliver 1 million doses a week from July 19. Associate Professor Paul Griffin says it could see Australia move up its vaccination timetable.
We've got quite a bit of AstraZeneca, but of course we've limited how we're using that now. So that really meant that a lot of us had trouble getting access to a vaccine, and so this increase in the amount of Pfizer coming through should hopefully alleviate that and mean that really there's no reason we shouldn't just go full speed ahead and vaccinate everyone in a short space of time.
The Prime Minister will touch base with state and territory leaders again today. The National Cabinet meeting will focus on home quarantine for vaccinated Australians returning from overseas and vaccines for fly-in, fly-out and aviation workers. There will be no spectators at the Tokyo Olympic Games as Japan enforces a 4th state of emergency. COVID infections are rising in the nation's capital. Tokyo 2020 President Seiko Hashimoto says it's certainly not ideal.
We have no other choice but to hold the Games in a limited way. There are many people who are looking forward to the Games, those people who purchased the tickets, as well as the local community people. We are very sorry.
The US President is defending the country's accelerated withdrawal from Afghanistan, marking the end of a 20-year war. The military operation is on track to be completed by the end of August, and Taliban forces are seizing on the withdrawal, gaining control in multiple territories. Joe Biden says he will not send another generation of Americans to war.
How many thousands more Americans' daughters and sons are you willing to risk? How long would you have them stay? Already we have members of our military whose parents fought in Afghanistan 20 years ago. Would you send their children?
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide has some issues to work through following last night's 31-point loss to Melbourne. Zach Butters suffered a knee injury while the Power came up short against another top 4 side. Coach Ken Hinckley admitting they just couldn't work through breaking down the Demons' defence.
That's really accurate. We couldn't get any clean ball going into our forward half. They were able to get pressure on us, leaving which which balls were winning in the contest. They were able to get enough pressure on them, and as I said, the intercept stuff was the bit that probably set them apart from us, particularly for the first 3 quarters.
And 2 changes for the Crows, with Taylor Walker and Luke Brown injured for tonight's match against Essendon. Elliot Himmelberg and Lockie Murphy coming in. To tennis, Ash Barty's into the Wimbledon final following a straight sets win against Germany's Angelique Kerber. Barty says she'll take some time to enjoy the win before setting her sights on the final.
It's also important to back off sometimes and just enjoy it and kind of smell the roses along the way and take it all in, because it's not about the destination. It's all of the nuances, the silly nuances, the memories that come from the journey are what make it so special.
Yeah, great result. She'll take on Karolina Pliskova now in that final. Well, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder's trilogy boxing fight is expected to go ahead later this month, despite a positive COVID case in Fury's camp. And as we heard earlier, the Tokyo Olympics are set to go ahead, despite a state of emergency being declared. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Take note of the signage. Crayford, speed restrictions on the freeway, they still apply for works in both directions. Busy on the drive-in this morning at Two Wells, Port Wakefield Road, Mallala Road to Northern Expressway, that is inbound. And cameras this morning, Lyons Road, Dernan Court, Nelson Road, Paravista and Penfold Road at McGill. Looking to connect your phone or tablet? Telstra plans come with no lock-in and no excess data charges in Australia. Visit Telstra for more information today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
A possible late shower 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 16, Sunday much the same 17. Right now it is 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. Amelia Mulcahy, Mark Bickley. Last day for us today, and of course David will be back on Monday. I'm sure you'll welcome them back. They'll be refreshed and ready to go. One man who I'm pretty sure is be pretty refreshed after being able to ease some of the travel restrictions is our Premier, Stephen Marshall, who joins us. Welcome, Premier. How are you?
Well, thanks, Mark. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Amelia. And good morning to all of your listeners.
Tell us about the easing of the restrictions. I take it you're trying to open up as much of the borders as you can, but there's still a couple in place. And I guess there's a little bit of consternation around the ACT and what's happening there. Can we start with that?
Yeah, look, you're 100% right. The ACT is a very interesting situation because it's, of course, surrounded by New South Wales, where we see a very difficult outbreak at the moment. But to date, we haven't seen cases emerge in the ACT. They've been monitoring their wastewater and they haven't found it in their wastewater. But there are more than 1,100 people in home quarantine in the ACT at the moment. So we are very concerned. We're watching it carefully. And if we can release that restriction, we certainly will. We've said from day one that we won't keep these restrictions in place for a day longer than we need to, because we know how disruptive they are. But at this stage, we are very concerned about this Delta variant in New South Wales. Another 37 cases there yesterday, 40 hospitalisations over there. About a quarter of them are young people, which is very concerning. More people in ICU. So we do need to take this very, very, very seriously.
So to be clear, Premier, your concern isn't any cases in the ACT. It's a possibility of there being one. Do you have information that suggests this?
Look, our Chief Public Health Officer talks to their Chief Public Health Officer virtually every single day. And so we're just monitoring the situation as carefully as we can. But as I said, 1,100 people from Sydney currently in Canberra. They are in home quarantine. And Amelia, as you know, with this disease, the incubation period is 14 days. So you can have a test and show that, no problems at all, like our miner did a few weekends ago. On the Saturday, he had his test. He said it was a negative test. So he could have very easily formed the opinion, look, I'm fine. I'm going to go out to the shops now. I'm going to go to the movies or the footy. We would have been in a very difficult situation and a very different situation than we are at the moment. And it's the same situation in Canberra. Whilst there are no positive tests there at the moment, the incubation period is high and more than 1,100 people in home quarantine from Sydney. So we're just monitoring it carefully. We don't want to take any risks. We've got more people employed now in South Australia than any time in the history of our state. So we've got a lot to lose if we have to go into a lockdown like other states have had to do recently.
How concerned are you by the situation in Sydney, and is there anything you can tell us about it this morning if you've heard anything?
Look, we haven't had an update this morning. They do their update sort of 10:30, 11 o'clock our time most days. We know yesterday 37 new cases, and again, a lot of those were people that weren't in quarantine. So these were people that were active out and about in Sydney, which is just creating more exposure zones and sites. So I don't know whether you've seen the latest list, but there's more than 400 or 500 different exposure sites in Sydney. So they had a 2-week lockdown that's been extended for another week. I think it's a difficult situation over there because this Delta variant is very transmissible, but they've got an excellent health system in New South Wales. I'm sure they'll get on top of it, but it could still take some time. So we're not opening up to New South Wales and the ACT, but we are opening up to Western Australia, the Northern Territory and parts of Queensland. And I think that will be a huge relief to many people, especially during these school holidays.
Mm. Are you finding that, I guess, your feedback from, I guess, voters that you talk to is still favourable for lockdowns and restrictions? You know, there's been a bit of commentary. You know, we had Matt Abraham on the show yesterday. There's Smitho had a piece in the paper that it's wearing a little thin, perhaps.
Well, look, the alternative is catastrophic. There are more than 10,000 people that lose their lives every single day around the world when the Delta variant gets away from them. So, look, we're just not prepared to do that. Everybody's worked so hard in South Australia. And as I said, you know, the quality of life here, now recognised internationally as the number one most livable city in Australia, the number 3 in the world, is just not something that we want to take any undue risks with. So I appreciate that these restrictions are hugely inconvenient and frustrating, but it's these individual sacrifices and these collective sacrifices that South Australians have made that have kept our state safe and, most importantly, our economy strong, and that means jobs. So, you know, I think there will always be frustrations, Amelia, and I appreciate that. And as I said, we don't want to keep these restrictions in place any longer than we need to, but we've got to make balanced decisions. And to date, I think that the public has been very, very on side, and we've been very grateful for that.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those decisions. Full capacity at the footy last night, which is great. Had a couple of people who, look, I guess maybe not keep up with the total news cycle, just say, well, how come we're at full capacity at the footy, yet hotels are still going at 75% capacity? Now, I'm sure there is a reason. What is the answer there?
Process and the Stadium Management Authority sit down with SA Health, and because it's an outdoor and it's a seated and it's a ticketed event, it's very easy for us to go back and say, okay, there's an outbreak here in this area. We're going to put all the people that are in that vicinity into a quarantine situation. So we've been very pleased with the way that the Stadium Management Authority and the 2 major footy teams have interacted with SA Health, and so they've formed that opinion that is, you know, an acceptable risk here in South Australia. So 75% capacity at pubs, clubs, restaurants is actually the best that exists in the country, of any of the states in the country. But of course, we would like to see that ease further. And when it's time to do that, we'll absolutely do that.
What's that benchmark, Premier?
Well, obviously, we're concerned about a number of things. Part of it is what's happening in the rest of the country, because even though we do close down the borders, they are still porous. We do have what's called the highest transmission probability, because we do have low restrictions. So if it got into South Australia, it would move very, very quickly. That's one of the reasons why a couple of weeks ago we put that pause when we went back to 50% capacity for a week, because we really were concerned about something coming across the border and then really moving through very, very quickly. So we did that. And again, just for a shorter period of time as we possibly could, a week. And again, I know it is definitely a frustration and it's definitely a sacrifice. But it is really these sacrifices that we make to keep our state safe. We just can't take too many risks with this. There's not too many second chances.
Premier, I think you'll like this next question. Other than get vaccinated, what's your motto? We've been talking about them all this morning on the show.
Sorry. Well, I've got a lot. They're all from my father. My father had 1,000 mottos. Some of my favourites were, he used to say, "Don't major in the minors," which I thought was a really fantastic one. And he used to always say to me, "Stephen, today is the first day for the rest of your life, so make it count." And I always thought they were great mottos. He's not with me anymore. He passed away in November 2018, but such a great influence on my life, and lots of mottos and lots of sayings which hopefully I can pass on to my kids as well.
Well, go forth, Premier, and major in the majors. Thank you for your time this morning.
Good on you, Peter. Thank you.
Great stuff. Premier Stephen Marshall there, just outlining some of the restrictions about what has been going on. We're going to take a break. It's 7:15.
At Harvey Norman, healthy air means a healthy home. Know your air is clean with the Dyson Air Purification Range. Now at Harvey Norman. Like the Dyson Hot Plus Cool Purifier Fan Heater. Its innovative filtration system and super sensors diagnose air quality to remove 99.95% of airborne particles, such as allergens, bacteria, viruses, pollen, and mold spores. Or the Dyson 3-in-1 Hot Plus Cool Purifier Fan Heater from $649. Be in control of the air you breathe. Healthy air means a healthy home. Now at Harvey Norman.
Finally, you can get back to the Lion. Get back to long lunches with friends, workmates and business partners. And we've got something you'll want to come back to the Lion for. Our dining room special 2-course lunch package with a glass of wine for just $55.
Back to the Lion.
Head to lionhotel.com.au for more information. Get back to the Lion lunch menu filled with all your favourites. Get back to where you belong. The Lion, North Adelaide.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker and online.
How do you make the experience of buying a new Mazda even better? You choose Mawson Lakes Mazda and get your perfect pick. Mawson Lakes Mazda has a huge range in stock right now, so you can get the perfect model and the perfect colour. And will you get a good deal at Mawson Lakes Mazda too? Come in and see their demo deal clearance prices. All the models, all the colours. The only limit is time. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
I'm Georgie Dent, Executive Director of The Parenthood, a community of over 72,000 parents and carers. Every day, families tell me that Australia's early learning and childcare system is outdated and too expensive. It prevents women from getting back into the workforce and kids are missing out. National Cabinet is meeting and childcare is on the agenda. Tell them we need a high-quality, affordable, universal system at thriveby5.org.au.
Authorised by Minduru Foundation, Perth.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. It's 18 minutes past 7. We've got a very interesting guest coming up next. Dr. Sam Shahin, of course, is the Executive Director of the Bend Motorsport Park, and it's been a huge success. It's world-renowned as we speak, and I guess there might be an opportunity to talk about with the Formula One. Dr. Sam Shahin, welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show.
And a very good morning, Mark and Amelia.
Hey, let's start with the Formula One, Australian Formula One Grand Prix is not going to go ahead in Melbourne. Clearly, you see it as an opportunity to perhaps explore the possibility of bringing it to the Bend Motorsport Park. Tell us about it.
And what an amazing opportunity it is.
Indeed.
The Formula One in Melbourne has been now cancelled 2 years in a row. And this is about challenging our entire state to be bold, to be optimistic, to be forward planning, to have the commitment and the confidence, I guess, to pitch for world-class events whenever the opportunity comes around. Amongst the doom and gloom, amongst the ashes, always there is opportunity, and we just have to make sure that we always put ourselves in that position. That's what this is about.
Have you made contact with anyone at the Formula One, and if so, any progress?
We've had long-term contact with Formula One, as I do with all of the governing and controlling bodies for motorsport. I mean, we are in the business of motorsport. The Bend, as you mentioned, is a world-class facility. It has received amazing international accolades, and only after 3 years of operation. So, I guess this is about putting ourselves in a position to pitch for these global events when they come around. If it doesn't happen this year, let's put ourselves in the best position for the next time it comes around. And if it doesn't happen next time around, then the time after that. Look at, for example, the Queensland Premier is off to Tokyo to try and spruik her state's credentials to host the Olympics in 12 years from now. Nothing is easy, and the planning, the forward planning just has to be always front of mind. You also need the commitment and confidence, as I mentioned, but you also need an environment that promotes people to come out and say, well, how about it? Why not? Why not? Why don't we back ourselves to get these amazing events and not be shot down for it?
It sounds like that you're kind of sort of obviously suggesting that the F1's something we go for, but that might also be a bit of a direction to our politicians as well. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, in historically, no individual and no company brings Formula One or MotoGP or World Superbikes, these incredible global events to a city or a state or a country. It's always governments that bring them. Even in our case back in the decade when we hosted Formula One in South Australia, it was the South Australian government back then that brought Formula One. It wasn't an individual or a company. The same with the Victorian government. They bring Formula One to Victoria. So it needs a lot of collaboration. It needs the political system to be on board and just as excited and just as ambitious about spreading those amazing events. I'd love to see Formula One back here, but I'll tell you what I'd love to see. I'd love to see World Superbikes and MotoGP. These are the equivalent for Formula One on two wheels that, in Australia, motor racing facilities, the utilisation is greater for motorbikes than for cars. We have this incredible culture for loving bikes, and we've never seen that in South Australia. So,
well, which one are you going to put all your resources into going for?
I push through the door with looking for any opportunity where that we can bring to South Australia. I would, and whoever gives us a listening ear, whoever thinks that their circumstances align with ours as a state, I'm there on the front rows, flying our South Australian flag.
But what's the timeline on something like this? How do you actually make it happen?
Well, you start by having alignment with the political system, the health circumstances, but it's all about opportunity, Amelia. So the Formula One was cancelled. There was a slot for Australia in November. If we get organised, why not? Why not? Why not get in touch with the organising crowd at Formula One and say, here it is. We can provide you with a safe facility. We can bring you in. We can quarantine you within the confines of a permanent facility. It's not a street circuit where you have the entire city kind of exposed on the edges. And we'll make it happen, and we'll broadcast our state to the rest of the world in the middle of a pandemic.
So have you had serious conversations with the state government about this, or this is my idea, hey guys, get on board?
Look, it's a bit of both, Amelia. We've never stopped talking to the state government about particularly the bikes, the MotoGP and World Superbikes. Formula One just has dropped out of the sky and fell into our lap a week ago. Until 3 or 4 days ago, the Victorian government and Formula One had been saying, we're coming to Victoria. What I'm inviting is vigilance, is ambition, and a preparedness from everybody concerned, government and us, to be on the front foot when these opportunities come up. If it is too hard, to secure a Formula One event for South Australia in November this year? Well, let's get our act together and be ready for the next one.
Just quickly, Dr. Sam Shaheen, do you sense a slight fracture between the Formula One and potentially the Grand Prix in Melbourne, the fact that it has been, I guess, stuffed around for the last couple of years?
You're probably right. I mean, Formula One is owned by a media company. They have to generate content. They set their calendars a year out in advance, and they rely on the commitment and the confidence of promoters and sponsors, governments and countries that sponsor their invitation to those countries. So yes, I would have no doubt that they would be very frustrated that they've had a green light for quite some time, and that light unfortunately has sort of flipped up to red very quickly. So it's all about confidence, Mark. It's all about confidence.
Yep, indeed. Dr. Sam Shaheen, thank you very much for having a chat with us. Good luck, because so many South Australians are behind you. We love the fact you got a bit of get up and go about you, and you try and make things happen, and we salute you for that.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll cop some flack over it, but if we're going to say something for fear of being criticised, we'll never get anything done.
Is that your motto, Dr. Sam Shaheen?
I've got a few of them, so I've got a long list.
Good on
Thank you for your time this morning.
There you go, Executive Director of the Ben Motorsport Park, Dr. Sam Shaheen, trying to get the Formula One to the Ben Motorsport Park. We're going to take a break for the traffic. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Northfield, got changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Green Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Take note of the signage there. Crayford, speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. Getting busy at Two Wells, Port Wakefield Road, Mallala Road to Northern Expressway, that's inbound. Roadworks this morning, Crittenden Road near Findon Road at Findon. That's down to 40 k's and got one lane closed there. And look out for cameras, Nelson Road, Paravista, She Oak Road at Belair. Does your bed feel as cramped as peak hour traffic? Well, right now at 40 Winks, you can get any size mattress for the price of a single. Hurry, limited time only. 40 Winks, serious about sleep. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
CSIRO is looking for individuals to participate in a study assessing the impact of milk lipids on memory and cognition. If you are between 55 and 75 and have noticed some changes in your memory function, are able to consume milk and rice products, and are free to attend sessions over a 16-week period at the CSIRO clinic located at Samri, please register your interest. Participants will be reimbursed for their contribution to scientific research. Email crstudies@csiro.au or call 8305 0615.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. 5 movie tickets for only $50, only at Wallace Cinemas this July. Buy your book at Wallace Mitcham, Noarlunga and Mount Barker or online at wallace.com.au.
Your caravan is a huge investment, so when you get a little close to a tree branch or veranda, it cuts deep. But did you know your insurance should cover that? And Walker Crash Repairs will fix it right and on time. Walker Crash Repairs. Caravans, cars and four-wheel drives. See our customer reviews online. You can always relax on the road with Walker Crash Repairs. Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA-approved crash repairer for caravans and cars.
Landlords, do you get a notification to your mobile phone the minute your rent has been paid? With Toop & Toop Property Management, you do. We provide award-winning technology backed up by old-fashioned customer service. With Toop Home, every transaction is available at the touch of a button. You'll experience absolute transparency and peace of mind. Make the switch with a smooth transition of your property. And with our Toop Switch campaign this month, it's at no cost to you. Call us today on 8362 8888.
The all-new Isuzu MU-X is coming. Enhanced style and off-road capability. Exceptional tech and safety. This changes everything. The all-new 7-seat Isuzu MU-X. Register now. Search all-new MU-X.
Adding new artwork to your walls can make you feel like you're living in a new home. But where do you get that new artwork from? Art by Farquhar. Art by Farquhar is a vibrant art gallery with a huge range of unique and affordable art pieces. From local photographs to original paintings, as well as Adelaide's best range of Indigenous reproductions. There's plenty to choose from to liven up those old or new walls. Art by Farquhar, 1070 South Road, Edwardstown, or artbyfarquhar.com.au.
Finally, you can get back to the Lion. Get back to early knock-off drinks with your workmates and friends. And we've got something you'll want to come back to the Lion for. $8 glasses of wine and $10 spritz cocktails, $6 schooners, and that's all tap beers.
Back to the Lion.
Get back to knock-off drinks, 3 p.m. till 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Get back to where you belong. The Lion, North Adelaide.
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, it's 29 minutes past 7. The all-new Kluger Hybrid has arrived at North Point Toyota. Book your test drive. It's the North Point way. Let's do a quick flashback to last night. Let's have a listen to David Wildy talking about the game as the siren sounds.
Siren's going to go in a few seconds. Port's last chance to go forward. They do. Marshall, Dixon, Georgiades. Dixon's claimed the mark. Looked to come off a couple of pairs of hands. Good mark from the big fella. He's got one goal tonight. Siren sounds. And it's just a matter of how much. At the moment, 37 points. If Dixon kicks accurately, it'll be 31. But well played, Melbourne. They've got their mojo back. They've got their game back. And as Dixon kicks at the northern end for his second goal, he has kicked the goal. I think he's not going to flex the muscle this time. It's a goal to Charlie. Well done there. But all in all, a fantastic effort from the Melbourne Football Club. They're back in town and they've beaten Port Adelaide, a disappointing Port, by 31 points. Yeah, well done to Melbourne. We thought the Bulldogs were good. Well, this was a very, very professional outfit that came to town. 26 scoring shots to 15. They had all the answers up forward, down back in the midfield particularly.
David Wildy there just describing the action, of course. Timmy G will be back for the sports show later this evening, and he'll be joined by myself, who'll be previewing the Big Crows match tonight, but also Warren Treadrow, who'll give us his take on how he saw Port Adelaide's performance and where to now for the Power. We're going to take a break for the 7:30 news. Hamish Hartlett's still to come in the show.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
A possible late shower 15 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
The Prime Minister is promising 1 million Pfizer doses a week to accelerate the COVID vaccine rollout. Nine's Eliza Edwards reports.
Vaccine supplies have been trickling in from overseas, about 300,000 arriving per week, but that's about to triple to 1 million from July 19. The federal government clinching a deal with Pfizer to ramp up shipments 2 months earlier than expected. Sydney is receiving a boost to its vaccine stockpile as it grapples with the current outbreak. The crisis will be top of the agenda when National Cabinet meets this afternoon. Leaders will also discuss mandatory jabs for disability workers and trialling home quarantine for vaccinated travellers.
A car fire at Regency Park is under investigation. The Holden Captiva was torched on Days Road this morning. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says the SUV was stolen.
It had been reported stolen from the driveway of a Broadview home 2 days ago on Wednesday, and we're just asking anyone who saw any suspicious activity at Regency Park, Days Road this morning, as any information at all, they can contact the police assistance line. So Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
The state road toll is in the spotlight. With 53 lives lost, the first 6 months of 2021 has been our deadliest start to a year since 2013, and more older drivers are getting killed behind the wheel. Almost half of the fatalities so far this year have been people aged 50 to 69, compared to 9 during the same period in 2020. The RAA is pleading with motorists to take extra care. The Tokyo Olympic Games will be held without crowds as a state of emergency is enforced. Japan's capital is racing to get surging coronavirus infections under control. The Delta variant accounts for about 30% of cases. IOC President Thomas Bach is confident the Games will proceed safely.
The strict measures having been established to protect everybody, the Japanese people and the participants of the Games.
The Adelaide Guitar Festival begins tonight. The program runs over 3 weeks until July 25 and features a mix of genres. Artistic director Slava Gregorian says tonight's Flamenco Spectacular is a highlight.
The featured artist is a chap called Paco Lara, and he's only been living in Australia for a couple of years. He moved here from Spain. We're very excited about having him at a guitar festival for the first time.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Flurio Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it.
And the Barty party is ramping up, Tom Wren.
How good is it, Mel? It's just flying along magnificently. Ash Barty becoming the first Australian woman to reach the Wimbledon singles final in 41 years. Nine's Curry-Ann Greenbank reports.
Ash Barty has said that this is her chance to fulfil her childhood dream. 10 years after taking out the Wimbledon Juniors title, she's now made it through to the final, setting a new record for herself and for the country. She's the first Australian woman to make it through to a Wimbledon singles final in 41 years after defeating German player Angelique Kerber in the semi-final. Ash Barty will now be pitted against Czech player Karolina Pliskova in the final, and there'll be plenty of fans hoping for a Barty party on centre court on Saturday night.
Yeah, let's hope it's just that. Let's go to football. Port Adelaide has missed a golden opportunity to cement itself in the top four after going down to Melbourne by 31 points last night. The result lifts the Demons to top spot temporarily, while the Power are now fifth, and compounding the result is a knee injury to Zach Butters. To cycling, Australian Harrison Sweeney has finished third in stage 12 of the Tour de France. Tadej Pogacar has a 5-minute and 18-second lead in the yellow jersey. Well, fresh off winning his first US PGA title, Australian Cam Davis has shot an impressive 4 under par 67 in his opening round in Illinois. He's 3 shots off the pace, as is fellow Aussie Greg Chalmers, who's currently 4 under late in his opening round. Meantime, South Aussie Wade Ormsby also fired a 4 under opening round. That was at the Scottish Open, putting him only 3 shots off the lead. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Wingfield, got an oil spill on Brabham Court, just off South Road. Take some care around there this morning. At Northfield, we've got changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Crafers, speed restrictions on the freeway. They still apply for works in both directions. And look out for roadworks today. Commercial Road near Gracechurch Street, Port Adelaide. Both directions down to 40 k's and got 2 lanes closed there as well. It's a bumper season for Hass avocado lovers, which means great value on top of great quality. Take home some Greek gold today. Visit australianavocados.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
15 for your Friday, a possible late shower, partly cloudy tomorrow 16 and the same on Sunday 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast
with Amelia Mulcahy
and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. 23 minutes to 8. And the Prime Minister will hold a virtual meeting with state and territory leaders this afternoon as part of the regular National Cabinet catch-up. The unfolding COVID situation in New South Wales, I'm sure, will dominate the talk. To tell us more about that, we're joined on the line by 5AA's Canberra correspondent, Michael Packy. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Now, talk of JobKeeper, the wage subsidy to be brought back as a result of all the flow-on effects of the New South Wales lockdown and what it's having on other states. The federal government, though, they're adamant this is not going to happen.
Yeah, look, there's been a bit of talk lately that JobKeeper should be brought back, especially after the lockdown in Victoria and now the lockdown in New South Wales. It's not only because of the problems in that state, you know, businesses having to shut up shop and workers missing out on work if they've had to be stood down and so forth, but also it's school holiday time in a number of states. So it means that, for example, in Sydney, people aren't travelling to states like South Australia because obviously South Australia is closed off to parts of Greater Sydney. So some of those businesses in South Australia could be missing out on that business. So essentially what the Labor is saying is that JobKeeper should have never been gotten rid of, that it should have continued in some way, shape or form to basically help businesses continue paying workers that are in, you know, a bit of dire straits because, you know, there just isn't enough trade flowing. But the government is saying that that's just not going to happen, that there are other options in place to help states or territories that have had to lock down, whether it be helping their business or whether it be helping workers. workers with payments of up to $500 if they're in a hotspot. So the chance of JobKeeper coming back, I think, is zero, even though you've got some states and territories believing that it should still be available to people.
Now, the vaccine rollout is among the topics on today's National Cabinet agenda. The Prime Minister, he's defending the process with 8.7 million doses of the vaccine already administered. It doesn't sound like anyone else is, Michael.
No, look, you're right. I mean, the vaccine rollout has been hard for the federal government to defend, but the bottom line is I think that what they're going to be doing today is discussing how more jabs can get into arms, essentially. What we've had this week is we've had business leaders come out and say how they can help drive the vaccine take-up and drive the vaccine rate. You know, you've heard stories of, you know, should Bunnings car parks be used as vaccination hubs or should bank branches be used as vaccination hubs?
Jab and a sausage sizzle.
Exactly right. But look, I think that those sorts of ideas are actually being explored, not so much the banks having, you know, a jab at a bank branch, but definitely using resources like car parks and so forth at some of these major companies. Those sorts of issues have been explored over the past week, and I think that what the Prime Minister is going to do with the state and territory leaders today is talk about what came out of those talks with business leaders in terms of delivering a much more, how would you say, coherent or much more streamlined communications to encourage workers to get their vaccine. What can maybe banks do to use their technology that they have for customers? Like, how many bank customers are there? There are millions upon millions, and a lot of bank customers would have apps. So, can banks have a role to play in providing information about the vaccine on their apps when people open an app? So that sort of stuff, I think, will be discussed. The other thing is the Pfizer vaccine. What the Prime Minister has announced is more Pfizer doses are coming online. So, and that's probably
They
a good
are ones
thing.
that we already expected, Michael, or this is in addition to what we'd already secured?
I think it's a mixture of some that we had expected and in addition to. For instance, we're expecting about 1 million Pfizer doses to come online from the middle of this month. So that's a lot more than I think was expected to come in, and that's because I think the government has been able to secure extra supplies from Europe. As for New South Wales, because of the current situation that they're in with their lockdown, they're going to be getting an extra 300,000 doses of both Pfizer and AstraZeneca. But the government is saying those 300,000 extra doses that are going to New South Wales will not affect allocations of other states. So that's a good thing as well, that the government has been able to do these deals with Pfizer and AstraZeneca.
Now, Michael, there's been a bit of criticism over the Prime Minister as well about him not coming out and explaining himself, particularly when it comes to, say, issues like the vaccine. Does he have to hold regular press conferences just like our state premiers do? Like we hear from, even just in SA, we hear from them quite often. You look at Gladys, of course, that's, quite a problematic situation over there. Yeah, absolutely. Is this what the Prime Minister should be doing too?
No, I don't think it is, to be completely honest with you. And I know that there's been this criticism that the Prime Minister should be out there every 2 minutes holding news conferences. I think that the Prime Minister should speak when he has got something to say. We do have other senior government ministers that do also hold regular press conferences, such as Greg Hunt, the Health Minister, and that's probably the person that we really need to be hearing from in these sorts of situations. Josh Frydenberg as Treasurer, he also holds a fair few news conferences over the course of the week and does a lot of interviews. I don't think that it is necessary for Scott Morrison to be bobbing his head up every day or even every couple of days. I mean, the bottom line is he held a news conference yesterday, but there was a reason for him to hold that news conference yesterday. Number one, the news conference was held to explain who the Commissioner will be for the Royal Commission into Veteran Suicide. So that's the first reason that he held the press conference. Then he said, okay, this is what we're also doing to help New South Wales out as a federal government. So there was a reason for him to come out yesterday and speak. And today he's doing some of the breakfast TV shows. So the bottom line is, I think that when it comes to the Prime Minister, he should just do a press conference when he needs to do a press conference. I don't believe he needs to be speaking every day, especially if that conversation also confuses or mixes what the premiers are out there saying. And I think a lot more people would want to be hearing from state or territory leaders rather than the national leader.
And one final one, Michael. We just had South Australian Premier Stephen Marshall on, and we asked him about Canberra, but I understand the boss of the Canberra airport, he's not happy that we've still got our borders closed with the ACT.
Yeah, the bottom line is that he's saying, the boss of the Canberra airport, he can't understand why South Australia and Western Australia, for that matter, have got their borders closed to the ACT, because he says that the ACT is not New South Wales, it's not Sydney, there's no cases of COVID-19 in the ACT, and there hasn't been for many, many months. I think it's edging towards close to a year that there hasn't been a case of COVID-19 in the ACT. So essentially, the boss of the airport is saying, well, why isn't South Australia and Western Australia opening up to the ACT? Why aren't people allowed to travel between the territory and your state, and vice versa, because of the level of tourism dollars from the ACT that could come in to both South Australia and Western Australia, and people from your state, South Australia, coming to the ACT. So it's probably something that does need to be looked at. If the territory doesn't have any COVID cases, the ACT is separate to New South Wales. We're close to New South Wales, but is separate to New South Wales. And if there's no COVID cases here, I don't see what the problem is of opening up that border.
Yeah, it was interesting. His response to that very question that we put to him was there's over 1,100 people that are quarantining in the ACT at the moment, and he was worried that maybe it might escape that. But anyway, we just take that as his response.
You should be able to handle it, though. You should be able to handle it.
Yeah, exactly right. Michael, thanks for your time again this morning.
Thank you, Michael.
No problems, guys.
There we go. Michael Packy, 5AA's Canberra correspondent. Let's check the latest traffic. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Wingfield, look out for diesel on the road at Brabham Court. That's just off South Road. At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Crafers, speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. And busy this morning at Parkside, that's inbound, Glen Osmond Road, Young Street to Greenhill Road. Look out for cameras at Lower North East Road, Durnan Court and Sheoak Road at Belair. It's the final days of Amar Furniture's mid-year clearance. Save up to 50% off selected bedroom and mattresses in-store and online. Don't miss out. Shop at Amar today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. That's right. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Up to 30% off double, up to 40% off Queen, and up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles. Our range includes the best names in Australian-made mattresses from Sealy Posturepedic, King Coil by A.H. Beard, Sleepmaker and Beauty Rest. Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles in-store only. Now at Harvey Norman.
I'm Georgie Dent, Executive Director of The Parenthood, a community of over 72,000 parents and carers. Every day, families tell me that Australia's early learning and childcare system is outdated and too expensive. It prevents women from getting back into the workforce and kids are missing out. National Cabinet is meeting and childcare is on the agenda. Tell them we need a high-quality, affordable, universal system at thriveby5.org.au.
Authorised by Minderoo Foundation, Perth.
Well, getting out and exploring the great outdoors is something, but the right products can make it kick-ass. I'm with the man behind the brand, Clayton Sheehan. I hear the fridges are the best.
I guess that comes from the fact that I've been selling fridges for 14 years, listening to customers' feedback, and I've put every single piece of feedback into our 75-litre kick-ass fridges, from inbuilt Anderson plugs, everybody hates bad connections. Our cover, there's not just one big lid, it's two separate parts. It's a dual zone, it's got Bluetooth, it's even got USB so you can charge your phone, or a cigarette socket so you can plug a kick-ass food sealer in. It's not just about buying a fridge, it's about buying the full kick-ass solution.
Thank you, Clayton. You can check out the kick-ass products range available exclusively at australiandirect.com.au.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. At Lynn Andrews Real Estate, we've seen a lot of change in the property market over the last 50 years, but one thing remains constant: our passion to help people invest in the future, to build strong property portfolios in commercial and residential real estate. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. We are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Hey, it's Mark Bickley. For 20 years, the team at Jarvis Toyota has been helping South Australian families keep that "oh, what a feeling" feeling. Over that time, Jarvis has put their support behind Variety, the children's charity, as platinum sponsor of the Variety 4-wheel drive adventure. And they've got plenty more support to give. If you're about to rediscover the road, make sure you take a proper test drive from the range at Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of support in 2021.
Here at FIVEaa, we're all about supporting local. Peter Shearer Menswear are committed to customer satisfaction through personal service for men that understand style and value advice. Peter Shearer Menswear, always the brand with the brands.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. It's 11 minutes to 8. Time to give something away every day this week. We've been doing the Dinosaur of the Day, giving away VIP tickets to Jurassic Creatures, which is stomped into Edwards Park, Anzac Highway, Keswick. You can hear them roar until July 25th. Tickets are through Ticketmaster. So if you want to take part in this, we do a pretty simple quiz. Amelia asks you some questions, a bit like Who Am I on Sale of the Century, for those people who remember that. 8223 0055. We've had lots of winners as well, so don't worry if you don't know too much about dinosaurs. We'll nurse you through this. 8223 0055 is the number to call. While we're doing that, getting our callers up, what's happening with the weather, Amelia?
Well, anyone listening on their way into work or, getting out and about at the moment wouldn't be surprised to know that right now it's the coldest time of the day. Our low was 6.4 degrees. We reached that a short time ago. That's because we just saw skies clear overnight. Of course, we often...
So tell me about that, because I would have thought when it's pitch black dark and there's no sun, it would be colder than when the sun's out.
I'll go back to the clearing skies first. So when there's a lot of cloud cover, that stops the day's heat that we accumulated yesterday.
It's like a blanket.
From escaping. It's the Dooner effect. It stops it from leaving, quickly.
Yes.
And the reason why often when that happens that it's the coldest time just around sunrise is that's the longest point that we've been without any sunlight. So, that doesn't surprise me that we're seeing that here. A lot colder further afield, though, in Newry, down below zero, minus 0.4, minus 1 at Lameroo, minus 3.3 at Loxton, almost minus 1 at Murray Bridge, and minus 4.4 at Renmark, minus 0.5 in Clare. So if you're out and about in any of those places this morning, you'll certainly be feeling the chill. Now, we do have a sunny morning with clear skies around, but there is a chance that we could see a shower or two later today. So expect that cloud to build. We've got a low pressure trough rolling through. And there is a bit of shower activity on the radar at the moment, just sort of around Port Lincoln and KI. Tomorrow's probably the pick of the weekend. We could see a bit of fog, though, if we do see that shower activity later today. There might be a bit of moisture lingering in the morning. That could help fog along. But generally a dry day tomorrow. 16's the top, 17 on Sunday. And then next week, for the second week of the school holidays, at this stage is looking quite wet. We've got a couple of systems rolling through. They're looking a bit promising. So really make the most of the dry conditions over the weekend.
Because you're going to be playing a lot of board games next week during the school holidays.
What's your board game of choice, Bix?
Oh, I love, there's one called Blockus, which is Blockus.
You get what? I've never heard of that.
Oh, well, go to Toys R Us and have a look and report back to me next week and see what you think. It's a game of strategy. Strangely enough, I like strategy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway,
here I was going to say hungry hippos or something.
No, I'm a bit past that. I've been down that street before. Let's talk to Daniel, who's at Salisbury Downs, has joined us. Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
Good morning, Skip. Good, thanks.
Good to hear you. Now, we want to give you some tickets to Jurassic Creatures, 4 in fact. What's your dinosaur knowledge like?
Yeah, it's pretty dinosaurish.
Yeah, okay, that's a good answer.
Step one.
Here we go. Amelia, over to you.
Okay, you ready, Daniel? Feeling prehistoric? Let's go. I lived 150 million years ago. I'm often considered a flying reptile and not a dinosaur. I was quite small, with a length of 3.5 feet and a wingspan of 3.4 feet.
Yes. Was that pterodactyl?
Yeah!
Oh, well played, Daniel.
Well done, Daniel. Yes, up and about, Daniel. Who are you going to take, Daniel?
I will let my wife take my 3 beautiful children.
Oh, aren't you great?
Well, this is what they've got. They've got the 4 VOP passes. There's food and drink vouchers for everyone, so that is taken care of. There's also a couple of toy sets as well. Now, it says 2 toy sets, and you've got 3 kids. We'll see what we can do there and organise something, but that's fantastic. It's all thanks to Jurassic Creatures, which have stormed into Edwards Park. You can hear them roar until July 25th. Tickets are through Ticketmasters, and I was driving past the other day, I mentioned this. There was a lineup to get in, so it's vastly popular.
Vastly popular. And Daniel, what a way to get an Arvo by yourself as well. Just jump on radio and win a prize. Good on you.
No, just quietly, yeah, fantastic. I just have a shout out to Kerry and Shane because they're getting married tomorrow as well, so we're all involved with that, and all the best for them too.
Oh, big weekend.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks
Kerry
very much,
and Shane,
Daniel.
congratulations.
Enjoy that. And what we say, the weather, it's going to rain tomorrow maybe for the wedding. Good
no,
luck.
no, you know, the wedding's looking... Why do you not listen to my weather forecast?
Sorry. I thought you said there was a chance
No
it
chance
might rain.
today, this afternoon,
Sorry.
but tomorrow's not looking too bad. Bit of morning fog around. I'm sure that's lucky on a wedding day.
Kerry will be happy then. It's going to be great weather for her wedding. Isn't that what every bride worries about? The wedding day and the weather and all those things. So anyway, have a good day, Daniel. You've got the tickets and going to a wedding on the weekend. Let's check the traffic. 55 years people have known and trusted Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Wingford, look out for diesel on the road at Brabham Court, just off South Road. At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Green Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Crayford's got speed restrictions on the freeway. They still apply for works in both directions. And look out for roadworks today. Crittenden Road near Findon Road at Findon, down to 40 k's and got 1 lane closed there. Big brand camping sale this weekend only at Anaconda with 25% off all camping gear by Coleman, plus more great offers. Must end Sunday at Anaconda. Play more, pay less. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Okay, time now to do one of the best at Blakey. We love this. This is a great part of the show. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
How to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street?
Hi, Big Bird, what are you doing?
Oh, hi, Oscar. I'm not doing anything. I'm just killing time.
More like wasting time.
But I like doing nothing.
Why don't you do something constructive like, I don't know, learn to fly?
Learn to fly?
Yeah, why not? You're a bird, but you don't fly.
But I don't want to fly.
What sort of bird doesn't want to fly?
I'm happy being here on the ground.
But Bird, if you learn to fly and someone comes along and steals you, then you'll be able to escape.
Steal me?
Yeah, a lot of people like to steal a big yellow bird.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Why not? A lot of people like to impress their friends by having a big yellow bird.
But they wouldn't be able to use me.
Why not?
Because I'm hard to operate.
What?
It takes a long time to learn how to be me.
Why? You don't do anything.
Well, you can't see where you're going because I don't have eye holes.
What?
So to see where I'm going, I have to have a TV monitor strapped to my chest.
Are you all right?
And the person who stole me would have to use their right arm to operate my right arm, and their left arm is stuck up in my head.
Yeah, I didn't think there was room for a brain.
And they would use their fingers to move my mouth.
Yeah, I wish that would stop moving.
And my left arm is attached to my right arm by a wire. So when I move my right arm, my left arm moves as well.
Bird, I think you need professional help.
So if anyone stole me, they would be sadly disappointed if they wore me to a fancy dress party.
I wish somebody would steal you now.
Today's episode of Sesame Street was brought to you by the letters W, A, N, K, E, and R for the person who stole Big Bird, and the number 10, which is the maximum penalty in years for stealing in South Australia.
There you go. And if you thought that couldn't get any crazier, that sort of whole setup, when they went to court, did you see what they were wearing?
It was wild.
And they had a limo with a guy
I think
with
they teed that up. They didn't have a limo. They had
a fake moustache.
They had like an old sort of beat up car. And I remember specifically a moment where their driver, who was dressed up in a suit, goes to all the camera crews, get away from the limo, please, and then they speed off. But the best thing for me was Daniel Williams, the 7 News court reporter. She signed off with, and today's and this story was brought to you by Deanna Williams, and you know, lots of Sesame Street puns there.
Very good. We're going to take a break. The 8 o'clock news not far away.
It's like our love of cycling and our disdain for cyclists. Or a free slice of Fritz for the kids from the butcher.
Thank you.
From Williamstown to Edwardstown, with a stop off at Cafe de Villiers for a pie. The things that make our state great. It's who we are. There is SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. We've been helping Adelaide buyers and sellers for more than 35 years. That's why so many South Australians look to us for real estate advice. Right now, we're working with 4,551 buyers in Parkside, 4,445 in McGill, and 4,363 buyers in Walkerville, all searching for their perfect property in these specific locations. If you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers we're working with in your suburb, go to toop.com.au.
The Isuzu D-Max is the best dual cab ute in the 2021 Drive Car of the Year Awards. Judges said the D-Max has not just moved the game forward, it has created a whole new sport. Powered by a 3-litre turbo diesel engine with wireless Apple CarPlay and 5-star safety, the D-Max is strong, smart and safe. Yes, the D-Max is the 2021 Ute of the Year. Move your game forward. Search Isuzu D-Max.
Do you think a concert pianist needs a builder's license? No. Does a chartered accountant need one? Nah. Okay, then what about a house inspector? This will surprise you. Right now, there are no regulations in the industry that say you must be a builder to become a house inspector. Mike Pearl from House Inspect Australia is a third-generation licensed builder, and his team is the most qualified team in Australia for house inspections. It's the biggest purchase decision of your life. Don't risk it. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive. But that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think. Because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Online, on DAB digital radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible late shower and 15 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
National Cabinet will meet today as COVID cases interstate continue to rise. Vaccines for fly-in, fly-out and aviation workers will be on the agenda. South Australia's borders remain closed to New South Wales, the ACT and parts of Queensland. And Premier Stephen Marshall is making no apologies.
The alternative is catastrophic. There are more than 10,000 people that lose their lives every single day around the world when the Delta variant gets away from them. It's just not something that we want to take any undue risks with. So I appreciate that these restrictions are hugely inconvenient and frustrating, but we've got to make balanced decisions.
A new deal has been struck with Pfizer to increase Australia's COVID vaccine supply. There'll be 1 million doses a week from July 19. There will be no fans at the Tokyo Olympic Games as Japan places its capital under a new COVID state of emergency. The spread of coronavirus is being fuelled by the highly infectious Delta variant, which now accounts for almost a third of infections. IOC President Thomas Bach believes the event can be run safely.
That all these strict measures have proven to be successful.
The Bend Motorsport Park is eyeing off a chance to host the Formula Ones. It's putting up its hand to stage the cancelled Australian Grand Prix after Melbourne pulled out due to COVID. The Bend's Dr Sam Shaheen says you have to dream big.
What an amazing opportunity it is.
Indeed.
The Formula One in Melbourne has been now cancelled 2 years in a row, and this is about challenging our entire state to be bold, to be optimistic, to be forward planning, to have the commitment and the confidence, I guess, to pitch for world-class events whenever the opportunity comes around.
A stolen car has been torched at Regency Park. The Holden Captiva was reported on fire on Days Road just after 5 this morning. It's been completely destroyed. The SUV was taken from a Broadview driveway on Wednesday. Adelaide's Guitar Festival kicks off tonight. The event runs over 3 weeks until July 25th. Artistic Director Slava Gregorian says there's something for everyone.
This first week there's more of a focus on classical and flamenco music. Next week we move into our blues and roots winter school, and third week we move more into the world of the electric guitar, which is going to be very exciting.
US President Joe Biden has defended America's swift withdrawal from Afghanistan, ending the nation's longest war. Nine's Amelia Adams reports from the US.
After 20 years, President Biden says the US has achieved its objectives in Afghanistan to deliver justice to the terrorists responsible for the September 11 attacks, defending his administration's swift withdrawal of all troops on track to be completed by the end of August. The president said it's not America's role to nation build, calling on Afghan authorities and the Taliban to reach a peace agreement.
I will not send another generation of Americans to war in Afghanistan with no reasonable expectation of achieving a different outcome.
Taliban forces have taken advantage of the American withdrawal, seizing control of several territories in the northeast.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Ash Barty has become the first Australian woman in 41 years to reach the Wimbledon final. She's beaten Angelique Kerber in straight sets, setting up a clash with Czech Karolina Pliskova for the title. Barty says she had a range of emotions following the result.
It was incredible. It was just almost a moment of relief, a moment of pure excitement. It was something that I'd never knew if I would feel.
Australian wheelchair tennis player Dylan Alcott, meantime, has powered into Wimbledon's quad singles final. He's on a quest to win a golden slam of all 4 major titles and the Paralympics. Christian Petrarca has led the way for Melbourne with a 33 touches and 3-goal game in last night's win over Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. Coach Simon Goodwin says the Brownlow medal fancy keeps getting better and better.
He's taken his game to be a really consistent player in the AFL. You know, last year was clearly his breakout season, but he's continued on in really strong form this year. And what I've loved about Christian is in the bigger games, you know, he's able to impact and stand up, and he's a highly valued, you know, member of our team.
Tonight, it's the Crows taking on Essendon at Marvel Stadium. One game in the NRL overnight with the Canberra Raiders giving their finals chances a major boost after upsetting Manly 30-16. Tadej Pogacar has retained the yellow jersey after stage 12 of the Tour de France, while Germany's Nils Pollitt took out the stage. And the NBA finals continue this morning with the Milwaukee Bucks up against the Phoenix Suns. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Wingfield, look out for diesel on the road at Brabham Court, just off South Road. At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Crayford's got speed restrictions on the freeway. They still apply for works in both directions. And look out for roadworks today. Crittenden Road near Findon Road at Findon, down to 40 k's and got 1 lane closed there. Big brand camping sale this weekend only at Anaconda with 25% off all camping gear by Coleman, plus more great offers. Must end Sunday at Anaconda. Play more, pay less. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
A possible late shower today, 15. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 16. Sunday, partly cloudy, 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. It's Amelia Mulcahy, Mark Bickley. We're on the home stretch now, Amelia. We've been doing this all week, and of course David and Will be back on Monday, which I'm sure everyone's looking forward to. They'll be refreshed and ready to go, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And, for now, though, we have been talking about mottos on the program when we've had lots of texts on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line, of course, 0448 08 1395. Here's a great one that we've just had here. Get what you get and don't get upset. There we go. That's one to live by, isn't it?
Yeah, Michelle says, work hard, play hard, or never die wondering. There you go, a couple there. Now, we were talking earlier in the show when we started very early this morning about where you did the weather from last night, and it was a spectacular setting in the Botanic Park. and it actually had a lot to do with our next guest.
Yeah, it was in the Botanic Garden. It's for light cycles. So if you've maybe been to the Botanic Garden recently, you might have noticed some structures, or maybe not, because they've gone to great pains to hide them. But as of next Friday night, light cycles, which is, you know, the big headline for the Illuminate Adelaide Festival, takes over Botanic Garden, and it's going to look like a completely different place at night time, I tell you. On the line, we've got Matthew Granger, who is from Canadian company Moment Factory. He's one of the producers of Light Cycles. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning.
Now, it's quite interesting. You've only just got out of quarantine. I was talking to you yesterday, and for you guys back in Canada, designing all of this and you know, working out where you'd put things, all of that, you've done it all remotely.
Yeah, it's been a great collaboration between the team at Illuminate and our team in Montreal. And it's been going on for a while. Although we just got out of quarantine about 4 days ago, this has been in the dream and it's sort of in the pipe for the last 8 to 10 months. First discussions happened roughly a year ago to figure out if this was something that we wanted to do, that we could do. You know, when faced with COVID and the restrictions that put on us as a company or put on us as a world, we had to decide how we went forward creating and partnering up with regions and events like Illuminate Adelaide to put on shows like this. But we were lucky enough to find a fantastic team, you know, with Rachel and Lee and the team who are leading this festival here, this experience, to decide to go forward and to put this on. So we're super happy to be here.
What can people expect now that you've hit the ground running? And I know the Illuminate team's been doing some of the heavy lifting for you when you couldn't be here, but what can people expect, and are you happy with, I guess, all the remote designing? Is it really coming to life?
Oh, of course. We spent so much time with 360 photos, and we actually came in and scanned certain portions of this forest and the garden. So we knew our technicians and our artists who were working on projecting and using these canvases as a natural canvas, sort of lived within these digital worlds for a long time. So getting here and hitting the ground was actually not that foreign. You know, once we knew exactly where to go, we know the distances between things, and we knew what trees to expect. It was almost like meeting old friends. You know, we had worked with this canvas for the past 8 months. But the work that went into it from the local team was immense. I mean, we're talking, it was three full-time weeks of work for a team of roughly 15 to 20 people working every day from 8 to 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day sometimes. So we're feeling that, and we feel that when we get on site. So what, Light Cycles is essentially we've stripped away. I mean, the garden is such a beautiful place during the day, but it's almost too much. There's so much to see. So what Light Cycles does is it enables you to carve away everything by doing this at night, and then it enables us as artists to then present exactly what we want the audience to see and reconnect in a very enlightened way, very, very deep, sort of connection to the natural forest and with the people you're with. Because living this type of environment at night, and we use the term immersive, and that might mean different things, different people, but the notion of entering a site and feeling the connection to the site, because we've kind of pushed you in that way, through lighting and sound and video. We're bringing your attention to certain elements of it. And of course, the whole thing is supported by a fantastic soundtrack, which makes you feel that you're kind of in your own personal movie. You got this cinematic experience that's guiding you along. So it really is about that. It's really about reconnecting with the Adelaide Botanic Garden in a new way, in a new light.
Matthew, in terms of, you talked about the Botanic Gardens as a canvas, and it must be a brilliant canvas because we love it. It's so spectacular. I'm interested, I guess every canvas for you is going to be different because you work in so many art forms. Give us a little bit of a talk to us about some of the obscure things you've done and the body of work and some of the other parts of the world where you've worked.
You've had some pretty famous customers.
Yeah, no, quite obviously. These trees are pretty famous here, but no, as a company, we've been very lucky. We've been around for about 20 years, and we started essentially by working on concerts and after parties and nightlife, and it came through lighting and doing these multimedia experiences, roughly 20 years ago, and then at some point, people decided that we brought something to the party that they wanted. So we started working with artists like Madonna and Nine Inch Nails quite early on. Recently, and right before COVID, we designed the last tour for Billie Eilish in Halsey. I think Halsey's been to Australia last year. So we kept on working with Billie Eilish and artists like that throughout the pandemic, adapting the way they connect with people. So as our business, part of our business is doing these illuminated night walks, such as light cycles. Another part of our business is working with artists and building the world that complements their touring show. So when touring stopped, it forced us to reevaluate how we deal with that. So now everything happens through the computers. So we partnered up with some very, very smart people, across the world to develop extended reality. Well, not develop, but work on extended reality type productions. So we did just an epic show with Billy and the team, which was, we're very proud of. But then we do also great work with, airports and cities around the world, creating just beautiful environments. And what we found is these experiences, we sort of like to call them digital campfires, is really what our company is about. It's about bringing people together, and we've replaced the traditional, fire and sort of sit in and sing along with these digital campfires that accomplish the same things. It brings people together. It enables people to share stories and share a different type of experience. And put down your phone. I mean, take photos. We want you to take photos and remember this, but stay connected to the people that are there with you, living this moment in the present, and that's what all our productions do.
Fascinating stuff. Well, Matthew, thank you so much. No doubt you're very busy getting everything else for Light Cycles at Botanic Garden off the ground, up and running. It starts next Friday night, and I had a little sneak class last night for 7 News for the weather report. It's incredible. Get involved in the Illuminate Adelaide program.
Yeah, very interesting, man. Very interesting job. Do not miss that. We're going to take a break. Hamish Hartlett is going to join us next.
For the Crows, getting smashed on your home deck is a real pain in the neck. At least that's how Tex sees it.
He's not well. He got smashed.
It's a long season, and as we've seen, fortunes can change week by week.
An absolute thriller.
This evening on 5AA, will the Crows tap into some good fortune with a win over the Bombers?
That's what the boy can do.
5AA football, as SA, as AA.
The Isuzu D-Max is the best dual cab ute in the 2021 Drive Car of the Year Awards. Judges said the D-Max has not just moved the game forward, it has created a whole new sport. Move your game forward. Search Isuzu D-Max.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest, and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker, and online.
And as you well know, it's really important to get along to all the... Oh, sorry. I've started reading the wrong line.
That's all right. You can say it again.
Sold by McGain again. I was going to read your line.
Please don't. I'll do it. As you all know now, it's really important to get along to open inspections because you could miss out. The market's hot at the moment.
Yeah, let me tell you about some that are going on tomorrow. We'll start with from 12 to 12:30. You can catch up with Zoe Ball and Laura Clark. They're opening 19 Nayuk Grove. That's in Happy Valley. Now, this fantastically renovated 3-bedroom family home features 2 large separate living areas, 2 bathrooms, plus stunning valley views from the large pitched entertaining area, which is right next to the swimming pool. And you can get this, the price range is $585,000 to $625,000.
Also tomorrow from 1:30 to 2, Kane Tonkin's opening 12A Caramar Avenue at Edwardstown. He says it's a Tuscan-inspired beauty. It's in a top location and features 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom and large double garage with outdoor entertaining area with a landscaped backyard as well from $539 to roughly $560.
Yes, for all the info, take a look at these properties and all the McGain listings at realestate.com.au.
I'm Georgie Dent, Executive Director of The Parenthood, a community of over 72,000 parents and carers. Every day, families tell me that Australia's early learning and childcare system is outdated and too expensive. It prevents women from getting back into the workforce and kids are missing out. National Cabinet is meeting and childcare is on the agenda. Tell them we need a high-quality, affordable, universal system at thriveby5.org.au.
Authorised by Minderoo Foundation, Perth.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our winter stock take sale is on now, and you'll save up to 40%. Save on our comfortable leather and fabric sofas, sofa beds, recliners, dining tables, dining chairs, including our Australian-made collection. And you can customise to your heart's content. Be part of our massive winter stock take sale and save up to 40%. Hurry, sale ends soon. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. In-store at Mile End Homemaker Centre and online.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, 19 minutes past 8. This is the 5AA Breakfast Show. We're going to get to a very special guest shortly, but first, Amelia, this is all thanks to PureTap, where you can get a $49 upfront PureTap on a payment plan. T's and C's are at puretap.com.au. As it's Friday, I thought we might get into a little bit of reminiscing and looking back on the week, and I thought I might list off the 5 things that I've loved working with you. So we'll start with...
Stop. Have a time. You can't touch this.
Hamish Hartlett, welcome to the show. Sorry, that was a bit clunky, that intro, but apparently that's what we do every week.
G'day, Vic. Yeah, the boys usually have a bit of fun with the intro to my segment each week. So I thought you did all right, mate. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Now, I wish I could say the same about your club, but unfortunately weren't able to get the job done last night.
No, we didn't. We obviously fell short by 5 goals against Melbourne last night in a game that was pretty intense. I thought, for probably 2.5, 3 quarters, it was a really even game, and we sort of matched it, with one of the best teams in the comp. But unfortunately, in the last quarter, they sort of kicked away, and the margin was out to 5 goals by the final siren.
Well, one of the, I guess, the themes that's sort of starting to run through the season now is your ability to be really good against the sides that are below you on the ladder, and it's been a real battle when you're taking on the top 4 sides. A bit like last night, you compete really strongly for periods of the game, but you haven't been able to get it done. Does that shake the confidence about your ability to compete with the very best in the competition?
Oh, look, I think it can. It can affect your confidence if you want it to. Now, we have said all along that we feel like we're a good team and we can match it for periods, but we're not quite a great team yet. So we'll continue to work towards being a great team. So next week we'll obviously focus on trying to beat St Kilda over in Melbourne, and that's all we can really do. The game that has just been played last night is behind us. We can certainly learn from the things that we didn't quite do so well from last night's game and take them into what we can improve on going forward. So that's what we'll focus on doing.
You're in a really strong position in terms of being able to sit back, watch the game. You've got your trained eye. You know what the players are trying to do.
Yep.
You mentioned some of the things we didn't quite do well. What were some of the things that stood out for you?
Oh, look, for me, I thought actually our contested part of our game was quite solid, but it felt like Melbourne were able to just be a little bit cleaner and more composed inside the contest, and then be able to shape around the contest really well. And they're really effective by hand around the contest, and they're able to go forward from there. And also, we need to probably look at some of our entries going forward and that connection that we've got between midfield and the forward line. I thought probably kicked the ball too high and too long too frequently, and it allowed their intercept players to be really effective.
One of the things that was a bit of a something to look forward to was the returning, or starting to get the return of some players back. We saw Zach Butters and also Tom Cleary come back into the side. There's still some players to come back, and personnel has been a bit of an issue. Just disappointing for Zach. That looks like he might be on the sidelines again.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Zach, he provides a great deal of positivity and enthusiasm around the playing group, and we know how good he is on field. And I think he showed that in the short little stint that he had last night, with his ball use and his creativity that he provides for us. But it looks like unfortunately Zach has sort of hurt his saying medial ligament last night. We're not quite sure of the full extent of the injury.
It was rather innocuous as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He sort of took that chest mark, and I think his leg or his knee sort of half buckled underneath him as he landed, and he was obviously in a little bit of pain. But I think Robbie did one a few weeks ago against Gold Coast, so I don't think Zach's is quite that serious from what we can tell early on. But yeah, we'll wait to see over the next couple of days just to see how sort of bad the damage is.
And well done to you. Really strong game last week. Best players and getting back into some great form. So you're not far away.
Yeah, thanks, Vic. Yeah, I sort of played a little bit of a different role, particularly in the last quarter. I played more in the midfield and had a decent impact in there. But I've got this sort of lingering left quad issue that is sort of preventing me from being able to run at full pace at this point in time, and it's going to be a tricky one to manage over the next couple of weeks. The guys are pretty keen for me to keep playing and training, and hopefully this little issue will heal itself slowly. But sort of reluctant to put myself out on the park at AFL level if I can't sprint. I think the last thing I would have wanted to be doing last night is chasing because I pitching around 450 running at a million miles an hour with a dodgy leg. So, we'll manage that one over the next few weeks.
Now, Haim, I really want to ask you this next question on the show. All morning we've been talking about mottos. So just for way of background for you, Bix is a very positive person to work with and always shares with us his motto for the day. And so we've been talking about it on the show. You've been very open on the breakfast show this year about your ups and downs. Is there a motto that's been getting you through or that's given you a bit of strength?
Look, I think I always try and look at the silver lining in things, and always, even what I'm going through now with sort of my body and the issues that I'm having there, I always like to make up a bit of a story in my mind that something really amazing is going to happen at the end of it. So for me, being 6 or 7 weeks to go in the season, I feel like if I keep playing well in the SANFL and get my spot back in the AFL team, and then who knows, I potentially have a really, really good, successful final series. So that's a story that I sort of try and make up in my own head.
Because so much of it's a mental game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that I know that I'm a role model around the footy club, and that there's a lot of young guys that are going through similar things, to me at the moment. Jackson Mead and Xavier Dersmer and these guys that have had a lot of injury over the last 12 months that are going to look to senior players for a bit of guidance and a bit of inspiration. So I've got to make sure I'm providing that as well for those guys.
Hey, Hamish, great insight there. Thank you
sharing
so much. And good luck, mate. Hopefully that left quad does start to heal for you. Get back up to top speed. And like I said, on one leg, you were still their best player last week. So you're not far away once you get your body right.
Good on you guys. Thanks for the chat.
There you go. Hamish Hartlett from the Port Adelaide Footy Club. Interesting insight there, isn't it? That's a little bit about what leadership is about. Like, Hamish is obviously going through a tough time. His body's not quite right, but he talks about just being positive and still setting that example. So putting that sort of that brave face on to set the example to others, which we love about Hamish Hartlett. So you shouldn't be surprised there. You can get a PureTap for $49 up front on a payment plan. T's and C's at puretap.com.au. Time now to check the latest traffic. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Crayford, speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. Busy on the drive-in this morning at Fullerton, Glen Osmond Road, Bevington Street to Main Avenue inbound. Are also two wells today. Port Wakefield Road's pretty busy. Mallala Road to the Northern Expressway, that is also inbound. Cameras Education Road, Happy Valley, and Kensington Road at Kensington Gardens. Hungry? How about a burrito or bowl from Guzmani Gomez for just $9.90? Choose from delicious pulled pork, grilled chicken, slow-cooked beef and more. Just $9.90 at GYG. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning.
We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours, and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
Amelia, needless to say, we are massive fans of PureTap. They're a great local company. They're part of the FIVEaa family, which we love. They also make beautiful, clean, fresh, healthy drinking water. They make the prices pretty beautiful too. How good is this? You can get a PureTap from only $49 up front. That is absolutely cracking value. A PureTap from only $49. It includes a designer tap, installation and filters for 2 years on a great payment plan. They're designed and manufactured right here in Adelaide, which we love about them. PureTap service and install their famous quality water purifiers, and you can rest assured their professional team of installers are following strict hygiene protocols. So never run out of pure, clean drinking water. It's a world-class product that we're proud to be associated with. So call PureTap on 133502 or go to puretap.com.au. Some T's and C's apply.
For over 36 years, Steinborner Certified Cars has always exceeded expectations on value, service and selection, and that continues. That's why it's always well worth a trip to Steinborner Certified Cars in Gawler, Nuriotpa and Clare for great deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishis, plus SA's biggest and best range of used cars. Make the trip to one of Steinborner's 8 dealerships or view the whole range of cars now at steinborner.com.au and join the thousands who know. Steinborner Certified Cars. It's well worth the trip.
Sharon Brewer, CEO of Meals on Wheels SA.
Because of the growing need for our delicious home-delivered meals, we're looking for people who want to join the ranks of our volunteers as drivers and deliverers. Volunteer drivers and deliverers are needed in metropolitan and regional South Australia on a weekday for a couple of hours around lunchtime. Drivers need a current licence and your car's running costs are reimbursed. Come on, South Australia, get behind the wheel and volunteer for Meals on Wheels.
Go to mealsonwheelsa.org.au.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with great fresh offers. Like in-season Aussie strawberries 250-gram punnet, just $3.90. Helping lower the cost of your weekly shop. Coles, value the Australian way. Offer ends Thursday.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
A possible late shower in 15 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
The Prime Minister is promising 1 million Pfizer vaccine doses will begin arriving each week under a new deal which will accelerate the rollout. The federal government has reached an agreement with the pharmaceutical giant to ramp up shipments 2 months earlier than expected. Scott Morrison has told Today everyone should have a chance to get vaccinated by Christmas.
Pending, everything, the supplies being maintained and there being no other medical advice, which we've seen, disrupt in the past. But at this point, we're not seeing that ahead, and so we can get this done by the end of the year.
The Prime Minister will touch base with state and territory leaders again today. The National Cabinet meeting will focus on home quarantine for vaccinated Australians returning from overseas and vaccines for fly-in, fly-out and aviation workers. There will be no spectators at the Tokyo Olympic Games as Japan enforces a 4th state of emergency. COVID infections are rising in the nation's capital. Tokyo 2020 President Seiko Hashimoto says it's certainly not ideal.
We have no other choice but to hold the Games in a limited way. There are many people who are looking forward to the Games, those people who purchased the tickets, as well as the local community people. We are very sorry.
An SUV has been completely destroyed in an early morning fire. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says it's being treated as arson.
Police and fire crews were called to a parking area on Days Road at Regency Park just after 5 a.m. this morning by reports of a car on fire. The Holden Captiva SUV was completely destroyed by fire.
The vehicle was taken from Broadview 2 days ago. The Formula Ones could be heading back across the border. The Shaheens have offered the Ben Motorsport Park as a venue for the race in November after Melbourne pulled the pin due to COVID. Tail and Ben could run as a quarantine bubble facility but would need to be upgraded to meet F1 specifications. The end of the US military's operation in Afghanistan is being fast-tracked to the 31st of August. It was due to finish on the anniversary of the September 11 attacks. President Joe Biden says it's not America's role to rebuild the country.
I will not send another generation of Americans to war in Afghanistan with no reasonable expectation of achieving a different outcome.
The Queen has visited the set of British soapy Coronation Street. Her Majesty enjoyed a 40-minute tour of the set and studios to mark the show's 60th anniversary. And a tiny drawing by Leonardo da Vinci could fetch up to $22 million when it goes under the hammer in London. Measuring just 7 centimetres, Head of a Bear is more than 500 years old. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide will be sweating on the results of scans to injured midfielder Zach Butters following last night's 31-point loss to Melbourne. Butters was subbed out late in the third quarter after landing awkwardly. Teammate Hamish Hartlett telling Bix and Amelia they're hoping it's not too serious.
Yeah, I think Robbie did one a few weeks ago against Gold Coast, so I don't think Zach's is quite that serious from what we can tell early on. But yeah, we'll wait to see over the next couple of days just to see how sort of bad the damage is.
Round 17 continues tonight with Adelaide taking on Essendon. The Crows making 2 changes with Elliot Himmelberg and Lockie Jones coming in for Taylor Walker and Luke Brown, who are both injured. Ash Barty's through to the Wimbledon final after a straight sets win against former champion Angelique Kerber. Barty coming from 2-5 down in the second set before taking it out in a tiebreak.
She does it. Ash is through to the final. What a performance.
Yeah, great result. The 25-year-old will now face Karolina Pliskova in the final. Meantime, Nick Kyrgios has announced he won't be participating in the Tokyo Olympics. And in some soccer to finish, England has been charged by UEFA over several incidents involving fans during their Euro semi-final win against Denmark. Danish goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel had a laser shot on his face and fireworks were set off inside Wembley Stadium. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade there. Crayford, speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for both directions. Busy on the drive-in this morning, Fullerton, Glen Osmond Road, Brevington Road to Main Avenue inbound, and 2 Wells, Port Wakefield Road carrying a bit of traffic this morning too. Malala Road to the Northern Expressway, that is inbound. Look out for cameras on the drive-in, Kelly Road, Modbury and Penfold Road at McGill. It's Pet Spectacular at Pet Barn, on now till Monday with up to 40% off selected dog and cat products. Conditions apply, ends July 12th, Pet Barn, life's a treat. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
There's a forecast top of 15 today with a possible late shower. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 16. Sunday, partly cloudy, 17. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
There she was, just walking down the street singing.
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the FIVEaa Breakfast Show. Sun is shining, which is nice. It's Friday, so everyone's got a smile on their face. It's 24 minutes to 9. Well, when I say everyone's got a smile on their face, our next guest is a little bemused because he's been, I guess, involved in a rather bizarre mix-up. Robert Breyer is the Mayor of Norwood, Payneham and St Peters, and he joins us now. Robert, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mark, and good morning, Amelia, and good morning to your listeners.
Can you just explain what's happened? Because you've been, like I said, involved in a bizarre mix-up where you've complained about a street tree and something totally different has happened.
Yeah, well, it is as the article describes it, but I think it's important to firstly make the point that it was, as unfortunate as the incident was, it was a genuine mistake, and everyone's human and makes mistakes. Just so happened, I happened to be on the end of this one, but essentially what's happened, there was a bit of a mix-up with the addresses. And
so firstly, Robert, can you just explain in terms of, right back to the beginning, you made a complaint about a tree that you thought was dead and you wanted it cut down.
Yeah, so I lodged a request with council staff to have a look at a tree which I believe was dead in Felixstowe, and that was way back in March. And then the process is that the tree is inspected to see if it is in fact dead, and if it is, then the paperwork's done and then handed over to the contractor. So the contractor can't be blamed. They just were acting on the instructions of the council, but clearly there was a mix-up because the report requires the address of the person raising the issue and the address of where the issue is. So it was my address and the Hilltop Avenue address, and unfortunately somehow it was my address that was given to the contractor.
And isn't there a bit of cross-checking there though, Robert? You know, don't they sort of show up and go, "Hey, g'day, is this the one we're chopping down or something?"
Again, I don't blame the contractor. They only go by what they're given, and I suppose, you know, to be fair to them, they act on the belief that the information given to them is accurate. It's a genuine mistake, and we are looking into how we can rectify that problem. And clearly, the positive out of this negative is that we've identified where the potential error occurred, and that appears to be the focus now of changing the system so that it doesn't happen to anyone else.
Is that how quickly trees get taken down in your council area? Because I'm not in your council area, I just point that out. But I know, you know, in my council area, it takes a lot to get a tree taken down, and mistakenly one got cut down, no other questions asked. Is that the go? Because I know a lot of people renovating or building are going through a lot of rigmarole just to work around a tree. And those rules are, you know, I'm not disputing the rules that protect significant trees and all of that, but is that how quickly it usually happens?
Well, again, I lodged my issue 4 months ago, and obviously it takes time to investigate a tree, make sure it is dead, and then there's the paperwork that goes with it. They're operational matters which I don't get involved in. They're purely matters between staff and the contractors engaged by the council. So in terms of timing, it's not something I can really comment on as to why it took 4 months or why it may have even taken longer. That's an issue that, again, will be looked into. But again, I just want to stress that, you know, as unfortunate as the incident was, it was a genuine mistake, and it's now being looked into to see how it can be fixed so it doesn't happen to another ratepayer.
So the upshot of all this is you've ended up with an 8-metre tree out the front of your house being chopped down. I'm guessing you're not the most popular bloke on the street at the moment. How are your neighbours feeling? That'd be pretty flat as well, wouldn't they, I'm sure?
Well, look, it was, there's a mixture of trees in my street, some native, some deciduous. Mine was a deciduous tree, and it was a very, very good specimen. Unfortunately, it's gone, and you know, I'm sure in time there'll be a replacement. But the important thing here is that the council has a look at its processes, which it is doing, and that's already in train at the moment, to make sure that, you know, we can turn this negative into a positive and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Well, Robert, thanks for sharing your story, even though it's not a very pleasant one. That we all love the beautiful-looking street trees, and when one gets wrongly removed, we do scratch our head. But as you said, hopefully something positive may come out of this.
Thank you.
There you go, Robert Breyer. So in a nutshell, saw a tree in another suburb and said, that doesn't look very healthy. Got it investigated. They decided they needed to chop it down, but they went to his address and chopped down an 8-metre tree out the front of his house.
I was just always under the impression trees are very hard to remove.
Suburb.
And no, apparently it can happen a bit quicker.
Once again, this is just me, but if I was a contractor and I rocked up and this tree looks perfectly healthy, wouldn't you just pick the phone up and say, just double checking on this tree looks great? Or go knock on the door of the person and say, are we really chopping down this beautiful tree? Anyway, it didn't happen, and in the end, we got what we got. So there you go. We're going to take a break. 19 minutes to 9, still plenty to get through on the show, including the best of Behind Closed Doors.
At Harvey Norman, healthy air means a healthy home. Know your air is clean with the Dyson Air Purification Range. Now at Harvey Norman. Like the Dyson Hot Plus Cool Purifier Fan Heater. Its innovative filtration system and super sensors diagnose air quality to remove 99.95% of airborne particles, such as allergens, bacteria, viruses, pollen, and mold spores. Or the Dyson 3-in-1 Hot Plus Cool Purifier Fan Heater from $649. Be in control of the air you breathe. Healthy air means a healthy home. Now at Harvey Norman.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest, and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker, and online.
Dr. Greg Keane explains how SportsMed puts patients first every day.
SportsMed is different. We have a clinic and hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists all together in one location. There's also pathology, radiology, pharmacy and a cafe. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can all happen right here. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high quality, cost-effective care.
And their patients love it. SportsMed.
Start living life again with our expert help.
sportsmed.com.au.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
How do you make the experience of buying a new Mazda even better? You choose Mawson Lakes Mazda and get your perfect pick. Mawson Lakes Mazda has a huge range in stock right now, so you can get the perfect model and the perfect colour. And will you get a good deal at Mawson Lakes Mazda too? Come in and see their demo deal clearance prices. All the models, all the colours. The only limit is time. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning. It's 16 minutes to 9, joined by Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley. We've got 16 minutes to go, Amelia, before next week. David and Will are back, so that's going to be great for those guys.
Yeah, and one thing I've loved working about you, Bix, is that you're just such a positive guy and you always tell us your motto for the day and you've got a lot of them up your sleeve. So we've been asking listeners all morning, and even, people have joined us. We've had the premiers. We spoke to Hamish Hartlett before, what their motto is. Our text line, the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line, has been inundated. We've also got Larry on the phone right now with a great motto. Larry, good morning. What's your motto?
G'day, guys. There's no such thing as can't.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think there's a
Short
giant,
but effective.
a big bank that might be doing something similar to that.
Yeah. You never. It's always possible, never impossible.
Love it, Larry. Thank you so much. Give us a call on 822 300 0000. If you've got a motto you want to share us with, be just as positive as Bix this morning.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, most mornings. Exactly. Not so positive at 4:35
No,
when
you
the
are.
alarm goes off,
You are.
but
Far more
generally
than me.
by the time I get here, it's okay. Graham Goodings has been doing some great work after 9, and have you got a
Morning,
motto,
Bix.
Graham?
Amelia? Yeah, thanks for springing it on me. Do unto others before they do it to you.
Before they do it to
Not bad.
Is that the sort of thing you're looking for?
That's a sort of slight
Have you
twist,
used it
twist
lately,
on the,
Graham?
I live by it daily, Amelia.
great stuff. What's happening on the show today?
Well, the first Tuesday in November, synonymous with Melbourne Cup Day, but it could be significant for a different reason this year, being billed as COVID-19 Freedom Day.
Freedom Day.
What's all that about? We'll find out. Get vaccinated and be given a travel passport to travel when and where you want to. Is it a good idea? A lot think yes, some not so sure. The PM came under fire not that long ago for saying the vaccination rollout in Australia was not a race. Well, it appears his words have been turned against him in a Labor Party advertising campaign in which world leaders are saying the exact opposite. We'll give you a listen to exactly how that sounds. And can you believe it? Crime Stoppers has been with us for 25 years and going strong. Yep. And if you were told you were chuggy...
Pardon?
Chuggy.
Pardon?
Chuggy. If you were told you were chuggy, would you take it as a compliment or an insult?
I think I'd
The small dog?
I'd take it as a compliment.
Well, I tell you what, this is the ultimate teaser. I'm not going to tell you. but I will later this morning.
Okay, I'm going to go look it up. Thank you very much, Graham. And as we said, you've been doing a great job for the last couple of weeks. A lot of people ringing up with their mottos. Let's go to Luke, first of all, at Craigmore. Good morning, Luke.
Good morning, Mark. Mate, if I've got a little comedy one. If at first you don't succeed, skydiving is not for you.
Found that one out the hard way, did you?
Boom. Well done. Thank you for that one, Luke. Sage advice there. Judith is in the gill.
Don't put down, put away.
Don't put down. I agree with you, Judith. Now, if you could just filter that back to my husband, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't understand what Judith meant by that. Anyway, Jeff is at Cavan. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning, all. My motto is pretty straightforward. As long as the sun is shining on my head, and not on my headstone. It is a wonderful day, regardless of what the day may put in my way.
That's a really good point.
Jeff, I love it. That's practicing gratitude, being grateful for every breath. Well done. Scott, it's at Corolta Park. Good morning, Scott.
Yes, good morning.
What's your motto, Scott?
Yeah, it's basically my kids used to say sorry all the time, and I got sick of it. I used to say, save your sorry, you might really need it some other time.
That's a good point, I suppose. That's a great idea. We've got Heather from Glenelg East with a great motto. Heather, what's your motto?
Yeah, and I make a preliminary comment. This came from that little lady Mae West.
Okay.
And the motto was, always keep a diary, and one day it'll keep you.
That makes sense.
Always keep a diary, or one day it'll keep you. Christine is at Westlakes.
Hello, my motto is don't do today what you can put off till tomorrow.
A job put off's a job half done. I've heard that one before. Patrick's at Maylands. G'day, Patrick.
G'day. My motto is the only person who got his work done by Friday was Robinson Crusoe.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I think you and Heather would get on really well. Got Pam on the line from Fulham Gardens. Pam, what's your motto?
Never look at a gift horse in the mouth. And the other one that goes with it, beggars can't be choosers. So thank God for any gift you get.
Yeah, good stuff. Good
I
on
like
you,
that
Pam.
one. Glenda from Ranella East. What's your motto, Glenda?
A cuddle a day will keep the lawyers away.
Are you cuddling the lawyers?
Me to know and you to find out, Amelia.
That's great. Maybe Glenda.
Didn't know where that was headed. David, what's your motto, David?
Yeah, mate. This goes from the Prime Minister, all the way from the Prime Minister to the local council sweet sweeper. He who has not made a mistake has made nothing at all.
I like it.
Spot on.
I've not heard that one before.
Well, Winston Churchill once said that isn't success going from failure to failure whilst keeping your enthusiasm?
I like that one too. We've got Vinny from Aberfoyle Park on the line. Vinny, have you got a motto for us?
Yeah, I do. Mine's experience is the best teacher, but the most expensive one.
Once again, wise words there. Thank you very much, Vinny. So there you go. We've had a raft, haven't we, of all different mottos.
I've got one.
Yep, go.
And this one is actually one that I've pinched. I've got a couple, but this one's actually one that I've pinched from my best friend Kate, who always used to say, "It's not awkward unless you let it be." That's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Just go on with a smile.
Well, that's it. Just
G'day, guys. Why are you weird?
Just move on, and no one will even notice. Time now to do fuel watch, just like I moved on from that quote. Petrol has indeed jumped $1.72, if you can believe that. That is rather bizarre. $1.72. It's in.
Where was that, pardon?
That's in the servos around the eastern suburbs and in West Croydon. The cheapest spots today: $1.31 at the ex-convenience Woodville North on Torrens Road, $1.31 at the BP OTR Marion on Marion Road, $1.32 at the OTR on North East Road at Foster's Road, and $1.34 at the Caltex Ampol on the corner of Hampstead Road and Folland Avenue. So I'll give you a bit of advice.
Foster's Road, where it's at.
Yeah, I'll give you a bit of advice for free. If you want to find the cheapest fuel in an instant, download the free MyRAA app from the App Store today, because it is live and to the second. So $1.72, you don't want to be paying that for petrol, so have a look on there and see what you can do and get better. I'm sure you can. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Burnside, as you're heading up Greenhill Road, a toolbox has fallen off and dropped its load of tools across the road. Do take some care. Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grange Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Crayford, speed restrictions on the freeway, they still apply for works in both directions. And busy on the drive-in at Fullerton, Glen Osmond Road, Bevington Street to Main Avenue inbound, and Two Wells, Port Wakefield Road carrying a bit of traffic this morning. Mallala Road to the Northern Expressway, that is also inbound. After 50 years, ITP know how to maximise your tax refund. With 10 locations across Adelaide, book an appointment today at itp.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Want $10 off when you shop? Then don't miss Cheap as Chips Spend and Save.
Cheap as chips.
When you spend $75 or more in store, you'll get $10 back. That's right. Cheap as Chips will give you a $10 voucher to spend on your next shop when you spend $75 or more in store. That's a whole $10 to spend on more awesome stuff at Cheap as Chips. So get to your local store, spend, save, shop and live cheaper with Cheap as Chips. T's and C's apply.
Ahead of Bastille Day on the 14th of July, you can celebrate it a little earlier at the Central Market.
Yeah, that's right. Today and Saturday, you can celebrate the best of French culture and shop at all your favourite French outlets. The Smelly Cheese, we spoke to, was it Helen this morning from Smelly Cheese? She was fantastic. You can get all your French fare at the market, so get in and enjoy it.
You can also keep the kids entertained with free school holiday activities, both today and tomorrow, with crafts and gingerbread decorating, plus live music's back at the market both days with strings, opera and local musicians, and there's a pop-up French champagne bar tonight from 5:30.
So support local and get all your Bastille Day goodies at the Adelaide Central Market this weekend, or you can shop online anytime for the full Bastille Day program, opening hours and more. Visit AdelaideCentralMarket.com.
Fuel your thinking with The Australian today. To spark an idea, to ignite a passion, to form your point of view, you need fuel for thought. The Australian, for the informed Australian.
Get ready to own the city with the Kia Picanto GT hatch. Turn heads with a razor-sharp sports body kit and 16-inch alloy wheels. Inspire your inner enthusiast and tackle the toughest of corners with ride and handling fine-tuned for Australian roads. Feel the excitement from the punchy turbocharged engine and immerse yourself in the sports-inspired cockpit. Book a test drive for your chance to own the city in a Kia Picanto GT hatch. For more details or warranty terms, go to kia.com.au.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
5.5 minutes to 9. Mark Bickley and Amelia Mulcahy just about to wrap it up for a couple of weeks. Been a lot of fun filling in for David and Will. Just before we do that though, one of the really fun things has been listening to the best of behind closed doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Yeah, welcome back to 5AA Breakfast, and David Penberthy, welcome back to you too.
Yeah, g'day Will, how you going?
Really well, David, how are you?
All yours, babushka.
A little bit later in the program, we'll be talking to the Police Commissioner about expected lifting of restrictions, but right now, it's time for Breaking It 8.
Well, this morning on Breaking It 8, we're looking at an issue that's been ongoing, and we've addressed it on many occasions on this program, and that is the question of why my personal tastes in food and music are constantly being parodied and ridiculed. It's my position and the position of this program that any thinking person would be of the opinion that there's nothing tastier than brain and walnuts on brown bread with chives made with love, the way my grandma Doris Penberthy used to make it. It was just sensational, and heaps of recipes like that can be found in recipe books from the 1940s, and I'm sure a lot of people listening this morning would be leafing through their 1940s recipe tome looking for a tasty morsel, and frankly it's beyond belief that mouths all over South Australia wouldn't start watering at the very thought of some beautiful pressed tongue on a Sayo biscuit. It's apparent to anyone with a brain that this constant niggling and tittering because a person's personal taste doesn't necessarily line up with other people's may well be bordering on workplace bullying. The ultimate outcome of all this is that everybody should do themselves a favour and sit back with a beautiful jellied pig's trotter with Cajun sauce while listening to the Kick Inside album by Kate Bush and shut the up.
Oh, there you go. Entertaining as always. And just on that very note, Andrew from Rosedale has just sent a text in on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line and said, thanks, Mark, Kate and Amelia for a great fortnight. Looks like it's back to live NBA updates in Spanish language and cooking lessons. So
That's nice, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Andrew. But yeah, let's not take too much away from
Glad
the
I
boys.
didn't bring my cookbook in to talk about it.
They're the A graders. We're just the B graders.
We have been talking about mottos of the show because Bix, working with you is you give me a lot of information I don't necessarily ask for, but you also like to talk about positive things and you like to talk about your motto for the day. You've got a number of them. We've also been asking our listeners what their mottos are. Bianca at Larg says, James Raines said it best, every day above ground is a good day. Too true. We've also got miracles I can do and the impossible just takes a bit longer. Rob, thanks for
you
that
go.
one.
Glenn joins us from Kilburn. Good morning, Glenn.
How you going, guys? Job well done, by the way.
Thank you.
Glenn.
Now, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said.
That's it.
And just one funny one.
I like a funny one.
Whoever said nothing is impossible has never tried slamming a revolving door shut.
Thank you, Glenn. And from Jackie, as you slide down the banister of life, may the splinters never point the wrong way.
There you go. We've had lots of great advice this morning, and what I've actually worked out is there are lots of mottos, and whatever gets you through, whatever floats your boat is good. Whatever works for you is what I take out of all this, Amelia.
I wonder what Rob from Nan's got. Rob, good morning. What's your motto?
Always say yes to your wife.
I like that one, Rob. Well done.
You could live by that, I reckon.
I think you could.
Yep.
And that's all it takes.
Indeed.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's another good one. Now, that hasn't made it. Did we end up getting one for you, Amelia? Did you end up sharing one after sort of you've been pontificating a fair bit this morning?
Well, I did about 5 minutes ago. Nothing's awkward unless you
that was your friend.
To...
You said that was your
my
friend
I
Kate.
do borrow that one. I do tend to go with a lot. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Probably not as positive. It's just more like, oh, okay.
Well, that's fine.
I like this one that Terry from Henley Beach has sent in, though. Worrying never thwarted destiny, which is a good point.
Indeed. Well, I think we've almost come to that time where we're just about out of time, and it's probably fitting that we should say, this is on behalf of yourself, Kate last week, and myself, we couldn't get it done without Andy doing what he does,
Andy, our producer,
which is panelling, and Lucy, who's also producing as well. So they make our job very easy. So we've received lots of nice messages saying thank you, which we fully appreciate, but we only do it because these guys make it possible.
Absolute superstars of their job.
Thank you very much. And we sit in the chair and everything gets laid out for us, and we just do what we do. So
well,
couldn't
that's
have done it
you,
without
Bix.
you. Sorry?
That's you.
Oh, you work really hard. I know. Apologies. So thanks for supporting us the last couple of weeks.
Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful weekend.
Indeed. And look forward to listening to David and Will back on Monday.